Welcome to the second episode of Bits and Wick, but the 8th episode of the review show. I'm Mr. Snibbits.
And I'm Monkish Wick.
Nice to see everybody. We're still trying to dial this in, but your Twitch is super laggy. That's no good. We don't want to hear that. That's no good. How about your Twitch there, Monkish? How's it looking?
It seems to be going okay, actually. I'm not having any issues on my end.
All right. So, okay. Well, we're here. We're live now, and there's definitely what? Cam, I'm already thrown up.
Fangirls.
Oh, okay. Like, I'm an Asian fan of Cam Girl. I was so confused for a moment there. I did not understand. But that's okay. That's okay. So, yeah. We are here, and we got a couple of movies that we're going to review this week. Let me get my camera dialed in a little better there. Just a little better. There we go. It's a little better. We've got 3 movies. But like a dork, I don't know how to upload the proper movies to show you guys, but that's okay. That's okay. We've got 3 films. We're going to be doing the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, It Chapter 2, and then we're going to also dive into The Blob, the 1988 Blob. And this is all in the lead up to 2 weeks from now. We're going to be doing the Monster Movie Mayhem, and in the Monster Movie Mayhem, we're going to be doing the 4 Godzilla films, the current films. So we'll be doing, what did we say, Monkish Wick? We said we're going to be
doing the 2014 Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island, and then Godzilla versus Kong.
Nice. Good lineup. Those are some dope new emotes, Joker. I like it. You see those?
Yeah, I do see those.
Those are dope. Yeah, I like them. You can see the Joker face a lot better in that emote there. I'm liking that. Abso-freaking-lutely. So, yeah. So let's move right into our first movie. We're going to be talking about Godzilla and absolutely the weirdness that is that movie, because I have kind of 2 views on it from my childhood and then now. And let's start with you, Monkish. What did you think of this viewing this time?
I mean, do you want my full in-depth, or do you just want the shallow approach?
Let's start. Just dip your toe in, and we'll get into it.
So this is a film that, even when I went to see it in theaters when I was young, like I enjoyed it, but it was still kind of like that's not Godzilla. Like, I've been a Godzilla fan for a long time.
Right.
It has never been Godzilla to me. So what felt like almost forced remake through it. It was hard. It was hard to do.
Yeah, I would just have to agree with that. It's ridiculous how difficult it was to watch this movie this time. I started to really fall asleep at a couple of moments just because it's so boring.
Yep.
Boring. That's the word. And it sucks because a lot of movies from the 90s weren't boring. They really were fun, but they're like old hat and not in a good way. I don't know. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it helps, the biggest note that I actually wrote about this film was that the main characters are insufferable. There's nothing appealing about them at all to me.
You see what Smash Bros said? Just grinding Fortnite. This Godzilla has more tropes from Jurassic Park than Godzilla. We were actually discussing that before the show. It's totally true. It's
why I then started deeming it, the Zillosaurus Rex.
Right. I still think they should just rename it the Iguanodon, even though I know we talked about, I know it's not. It's already a real dinosaur. Just give this one the name.
Mhm. No, I don't want to disrespect an iguanodon by giving that piece of garbage
I
its
don't
name.
think that the animal and the world they built is bad. My thing is this: I don't think that it's a Godzilla. I think they made an interesting, like nuclear creature film that's loosely based on Godzilla in a really really loose way, and then made a fun attack the city film out of it. But ultimately, the creature wasn't bad at all.
So,
Not
yeah,
really.
that's fine. The creature doesn't have to be bad. Godzilla isn't always a bad guy. That's totally fine.
No,
I
but
have,
what Godzilla does in the first movie is pretty bad.
well, I'd say it's more misunderstood than bad, but um, what tells me 100% right away that this is not a good film, and it's something I've already pointed out to you, but they, at the time that the movie came out, had the ability to monitor seismic activity.
Right.
Godzilla spends the majority of his time underground or in buildings in this film, and you're telling me that he left no seismic trail that they could even just be like, oh, yeah, right, he's in the tunnels of New York. Weird.
Did you see what Smash Brothers just said? And no, you're totally right. It would pop up on some kind of freaking seismic gear. Like somebody somewhere would notice it, or somebody. It would be heavier than a subway. Like it would be noticeable even to people just
Yeah.
walking. Like
Yep.
completely true. Completely. But yeah, no, Godzilla is not the right word for this. Zilla works. I like that. It works. It's a proto, like it's a sort of Zilla. It's like a Zilla from another universe, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, no matter how you dice the name, no matter how you stack the character, he's going to come up short to Godzilla. And that's something
Well,
that
in
is
height too.
unfortunate, but it's true.
In height too.
Well, well, yeah, because they
Uh,
made him a T-Rex in this. He's not he's not a giant. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah.
it was also interesting that since America's the only country to ever really drop nukes on any country in the world, that they then in this film were like, well, the French.
Uh, but remember, it was nuclear testing. They weren't dropping nukes on
I
anybody.
know, and that's why the French got to be sort of good guys in the end. They're like, we're fixing our mess. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, Jean Reno, I love you, but dang, dude, uh, dang. And they had to
His
come and
was a
insult
very,
my coffee. I love my American coffee. Uh,
his was a very ham-fisted role, and I think ultimately he actually played it pretty well because it's one of those roles where over time you can almost start to feel that he was just like, this is going to be a terrible movie anyway, but they're paying me a lot of money to do it, so might as well.
oh, of course. Why wouldn't you?
Oh, I absolutely would.
Of course.
Sign me up for all the bad films if you're going to pay me a couple million to do them.
If the army kicks the monster's ass, there's an issue. That might very well be true. This movie, there's a moment I keep telling Monkish about that I think is hilarious. When Matthew Broderick walks out the first time they get to the city, of course, for the shout out. You guys are awesome. You guys all deserve shout outs. Um, absolutely. Oh, apologies. I should sit up a little better, shouldn't I? All right. So what I was saying is, though, there's a part where Broderick walks out to look at the city skyline, and he goes, "Oh, just look at it, New York, water on all sides, an island." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude." I think that's, if you look it up, that's the definition of an island. So it's a piece of land with water on it. But then he looks at the city that has no fish in it, by the way, unless you count like a couple sushi restaurants or something. But there's no fish in it. There's fish around it. So why does it come to this giant anthill, if you will, to hide in the subways when there's places like the Grand Canyon, or there's places like the Marianas Trench, or there's come on, Roland.
Uh,
That's all I'm saying.
one thing I will say about the characters in this film, though, as much as they are insufferable, at least all of their motivations stay the same through the entire film. I cannot say that about King of the Monsters.
Exactly. What do you mean? Why can't you say that?
If you watch King of the Monsters or Adventures of Super Horrible Dad and Godzilla, um, you see that every scene, it's like the human characters have something completely different they're trying to accomplish. First, it's, oh, we're going to follow Godzilla, and I'm not going to get into it very much because we're, of course, going to be reviewing it, here after a bit, a couple weeks anyway.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, there we go. But it starts out with this, oh, I've got to get my daughter back, we've got to follow Godzilla, we've got to do all, like, every single scene that we show them in, they've got a different objective to accomplish, and it really feels completely disjointed because there's no, that I can remember anyway, of course I only saw it in the theaters the one time, there was no follow through as to why they had to take each individual step that they took. It was just, to me, like, oh, boop, there we go, boop, there we no, and there's not, oh, and there's not, and it felt like before they could even finish the actual idea, there was, oh, and here's another reason why we have to go over here. That seems completely 100% disconnected, and we're not going to actually explain the reason. We're just going to kind of do it.
Yeah, no. That makes that, yeah. I mean, isn't that what most roller coaster or big blockbuster films are like? I mean, don't they just kind of jump in with all the basic tropes, just run those tropes into the ground, and then run with I mean, they don't, who cares about the humans? We're caring too much about them in this. But we got to have them because there's no dialogue amongst the monsters. That's the problem.
If you are not going to have character development and not going to do anything other than just tropes, don't show the humans at all. In fact, realistically, I think other than the framing aspect of it, they're a completely wasted aspect of that entire film. But again, let's get back to the '98 Godzilla before we really go into into places that we're not actually ready to be at yet.
So I don't know why dinosaur was considered a negative word in the chat, but it was. So I said it could go. Anyway, lizard dinosaur, understandable, but doesn't make him a cold-blooded animal. Water in New York, even in the summer, is super cold. Yeah, you guys are way north. Like, even the water here in Oregon, because we're way north, is cold year round. Like, even in the middle of summer, you don't go get in the water here. It's 50 degrees or colder.
Well, some of us don't go get in the water, but others.
Okay, so there are weird fish people that live in Oregon, and I'm sure there are weird fish people that live in New York that go do that. So
I am one of those weird fish people.
I am I don't ocean.
Well, I'm not saying I ocean, but I definitely lake and creek and river.
Well, yeah, I don't lake and creek and I barely shower. I'm kidding, of course. But I just don't, I'm not a water person. Never liked water. I think I said this last week. I think it's because of Freddy Krueger. So maybe it was a week before.
Because of the shower scene?
The bathtub scene in that movie. I saw it way too young. I saw it when I was like 8 years old.
But you're not afraid of beds?
So, yeah, I don't remember that scene from when I was a kid. I remember that scene from when I was a teenager, and I liked that scene as a teenager. But when I was 8, I remember the bathtub scene is the only scene I could sneak. And so I watched the bathtub scene when my dad was watching the movie in the living room. He had HBO, which in 80, what was it? He was watching it with 86. It was a big deal. Like, cable was still new. So yeah, he was watching that, and I kept sneaking out to watch parts. And the only part I remember was her falling through the bathtub and the hand and all of that. So yeah, you're falling out of frame, by the way. There you go.
I fell out of frame?
Yeah, you are. You're on the far side of your frame there.
It's weird because my position hasn't moved at all.
That's weird. Yeah.
Is my camera moving on me?
Might be. Go no, go the other way. Other way. More. There, that's better. That's decent.
What on earth?
Yeah.
Okay, so on my own view of my camera, I am now almost half off of my screen.
Let's see. So did you know Godzilla will beat Kong? But I have a prediction. Oh, here we go. Let's hear a prediction. And I don't know if he'll beat him. I think it might be a Freddy Jason tie type thing. In fact, we're going to do a poll, I think. Let's do it right now, actually.
I really wish that Alien vs. Predator hadn't used the tagline of whoever wins, we lose, because it would be perfect for this.
Let's see who will win. Godzilla or Kong. Oh, if I could spell. I can't spell. And we're gonna do a little different than last week. Godzilla. Oh, that's not even how you spell Godzilla. Are you still there, Monkish?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay, good. Kong. And then Thai or something. Those are your options. All right, here we go. Starting the poll. Let's see what y'all say. Oh, I've lost your video, dude.
Yeah, it does that every time you try to create
a poll.
A poll. Remember, we had that last week.
Godzilla will pull out the tag team. What if? Oh, see, I'm not doing it, and it just did it again.
It still hasn't come out there. It just came back on the screen for me, so it'll probably drop out in a minute.
You're back.
What I honestly think is going to happen is there is going to end up being some bigger monster, and I keep in mind I've avoided any and all previews for this film. I am not trying to have anything spoiled for me. I want to just go and or let not go. I want to watch it at home and just experience it for myself. But I have this sneaking suspicion that it's going to be like Mecha Godzilla somehow comes into the whole picture and is the big bad, and Kong and Godzilla have to actually team up against it to take it down.
See, I think that would be better than if Godzilla won or if King Kong won. I'd be okay with that.
To an extent, I agree, but at the same time, it's kind of almost like a tease to the whole fan base. Like, you know, oh, here's this big Kong versus Zilla thing, and then go, and really neither of them win. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They did exactly the same thing. Smash Bros. Hasn't. Have you not watched the new Godzilla films? Because that's a spoiler. To answer that question is a spoiler. Should I put up the spoilers?
I mean, put up the spoilers if you feel you need to. That is a pretty big thing though to reveal without them.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely watch the previous films.
Yeah, and so Alt's gonna say it anyway, but hey, I can't really stop what chat's gonna say. So anyway, there's some spoiler alerts there, but hey, in a sense, yeah, Ghidorah is in the film, but not in the original way. Is that right? Would you say, Monkish?
He's in the film the same way that Galactus is in Fantastic Four in the Silver Surfer.
Now I've really lost you. With Gonzos. Oh, there you are. That's weird. I think I know why that's happening. I think I'm doing that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
I'm clicking off of... yeah. I'm totally the one doing it. That's annoying, though.
So it's coming full circle that all of our technical issues are actually on you. Okay, cool. Glad we figured that out.
Yeah, they are on me, but that's fine. I'm not doing anything else. So he's hating on my mojo, or I'm hating on your mojo, apparently, Joker.
I mean, that has been the name of the game since the day we met.
That's so untrue.
But it creates more drama if I put it that way. So
yeah,
our watchers will.
You are definitely for the drama, but you don't like dramas. How ironic. Okay, so getting back to
dramas,
you just don't want to watch them when you want to have to cry through them. So
I prefer creating drama in other people's lives so then I can watch it all live.
Well, that's why they made reality television, is for people like you. Uh-oh. You froze hard.
No. Yeah, I mean, you completely dropped out on my end, so.
It happens. What happened to my Twitch ticket donation to the April thingy? That's an excellent question, Joker.
Why'd you say it was an excellent question?
Oh, I meant alt. Sorry. So it says you've done 1,128. That's a lot. You want a Royal Rumble of monsters in the new Godzilla films? Well, Smash Bros. Go watch the Godzilla films. You will get
Just
Sorry, I totally misspoke.
if you're wanting the Royal Rumble of monsters, you'll basically get a version of that if you watch King of the Monsters. Um, if you kind of halfway close your eyes and just squint at the screen and then look away anytime there's humans on, but you know.
What? You hate on that movie so much.
I
Don't say what you think, because we
Yep.
already know. We already can
Yep.
tell. So,
but I think it'll become clear to a lot of people that I hate on a lot of movies. So
yeah, I know you
there's
do. You didn't go in and vote on the thing, man.
Yes, I did.
You did? Are you
Yep.
in? Are you in the chat? Because I'm not seeing you. Yeah, you're not in the chat.
I'm in the chat. I just said hi.
Interesting. There you are. It wasn't showing you before because I wanted to do this for you. Boom.
Yeah. Well, I'm not currently playing Sea of Thieves, but yeah.
You're gonna go eat, enjoy, sir. All right, so we're going to get back to this Godzilla conundrum, which is this Roland Emmerich thing that he created in the late 90s that says Godzilla, but for basically 90% of it has nothing to do with Godzilla. It has the name, sure. We'll give it the name. And it has, well, it has some elements of radiation, but that's it. Like the radiation isn't a big part of it. It's this.
I mean, the radiation is the catalyst for the entirety of the creature's existence, but
But literally, that's it.
Yeah.
Radiation for Godzilla is a lot of the story.
Well, yeah, he spends a lot of his time searching for sources of radiation.
So yeah, but to have it be this way just makes little to no sense to me. Like I don't get it.
I mean, honestly, it is not a film for anybody who has ever been a fan of Godzilla in their life.
No.
I really wonder, honestly, I feel that they could have not used the name Godzilla and they could have just made, monster movie in New York, basically, and it would have been an okay film. I would have actually probably scored it a little bit better since it didn't use the Godzilla title.
Hank Azaria is hilarious in this film. He does really great. And it's sad that it's just left to nothing because he can't save a whole film. He just can't save a whole film.
Yeah,
I want him to, but he can't. So what are you going to do?
Yep.
It's kind of hard to talk about this film without basically just thrashing it. And it sucks because when I was young and I saw it, it was really, really good for me because I wasn't a Godzilla fan. So I really, really, truly enjoyed it. What sucks though is that now I understand Godzilla a lot more.
Roller coaster.
What?
What?
I'm really, really enjoying Godzilla, the like main movies. So this one falls to pieces, when I watch it now. It's really, really difficult to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Again, I enjoyed the very roller coastery aspects of it, and even this time when I watched it, I was like, this would make a great interactive experience in a theme park.
It would.
Getting stuck in a giant dinosaur creature, whatever's mouth, it chasing you through the streets of New York. But the whole route of it would be a great experience for a roller coaster, but it doesn't translate well to a film.
No. A Universal Studios movie like set thing could be fun. Could be fun. Maybe. Probably not though. I don't know. What do you think? Would you go sit on a Universal ride for that, or would you be bored after only one ride?
Mean, let's be clear. I've gone through the Universal Backdrop Tour, or Backlot Tour. It 40 minutes of the whole thing. I'm willing to sit through a 3 to 5 minute experience that is this quote unquote Godzilla.
Hey Jesse.
Lord knows I have spent way too much time doing things that do not even equal half that entertainment in my life.
Yeah, no, I get that. I just, I don't, I. It feels like if they were going to do this, they should have done a King Kong with it and like totally taken a whole new universe and just run with it because they
Hmm.
started that. The movie ends with a, hey, look at what we're going to do,
Yep.
you know, and then they don't, and I don't understand why they don't. It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense at all. Uh,
Hey,
Something that I will point out in this, though, there's a scene early on where they're covering the looting that's all happening as this, is all going about.
uh huh,
The reporter, the absolute douche of a human being,
the
um,
dude.
the dude, says that all of the or sorry, that the WB and Disney stores have been fully looted. Like there's nothing left in them.
Uh oh, looks like tie or something. One tie or something. That's what people
Yeah,
said. Tie or something.
I'm assuming it'll be Ty or something. I still voted for Godzilla on that just because
Of course you did.
Godzilla.
You
Yeah,
love voting for Godzilla. Okay. You always vote
but
for
no, I
Godzilla.
thought it was really interesting that in this Universal picture, uh, they say that the WB and the Disney stores have been completely looted.
They did say that?
Yeah, they say it very like, and I had never caught it before this time, and I went, "That's weird." So I, stepped it back a couple of scenes just to watch through it again, and went, "Yeah, no, they say that. That's a little odd."
Oh, look at love this. Oh, it's over there. It's right here, but yeah, anyway. Look at what Joker keeps saying. Oh, we're so beautiful. We thank you, Joker. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate the
Just wait,
support and love.
just wait until I come dressed up as my alter ego. You will no longer think I'm beautiful, sir.
Or we'll think you're more beautiful.
Well, that's a possibility, but if that's the case,
What
we
am
could
I
we could talk later.
doing? I'm struggling here. I'm trying to do something and talk to you guys at the same time. You've been waiting for the stream all week? Oh, that's super sweet. We're talking about Godzilla the 98 one, so it's not the most exciting movie to talk about because it we are it sucks. I don't know what else to say about it. I really wanted to remember this movie fondly, and then I watched it as an adult, and that was really dumb. I should not have done that. I should have honestly just just
Mm-hmm.
left it. I should have left it and never watched it again. So, um, I think Jesse was there for his podcast, for your podcast, Joker. I do. I believe. It is a good movie to rip on. That's true. I guess we could just keep ripping on it and say screw
It,
it.
it is it is a great and far too easy film to rip on. I think that's what it comes down to. It feels like we are picking on the poor defenseless kid in class at this point. Like I've been picking on this movie for years at this point, so I'm like, maybe I'm kind of running out of ammunition on this one.
Some of them you
However,
do. It does seem that way.
um, there's a lot of visuals in this that just don't make any sense to me.
What do
Like
you mean? Like what?
at one point, so at in the scene where they are trying to lure monster into central area with the fish, whatever. It eats, it like runs away, it kind of comes back, whatever. The whole situation is really weird. But there's a scene where
It is. It is so weird.
Nick Totopoulos is standing up against a piece of the road that Godzilla has like knocked behind him, basically barring him from escaping any further. And over Nick's shoulder, you can see there's a taxi behind him. The driver's side taxi, the window is rolled down maybe a quarter of the way, and there's just steam billowing out of this taxi. There's no damage to the taxi. There's just steam billowing out of the inside. And I was like, could they not have hit their steam machines better? Maybe put it under the wheel of the taxi instead? Like,
Nope. Apparently
that
not.
seems like a really odd placement for that.
You know, I don't know how to work my own Twitch account. This is really ridiculous. I'm really a sad person right now. Let's see if I can get it to work this way. Am I still losing you like I was before? Yep, I knew I would be. Why
What are
wouldn't
you
I
trying
be?
to do?
I'm trying to. Oh shit! There I go again. Okay, it's not gonna work if I do it that way. Playing Fortnite. Brad and I were Brad, Monkish and I were playing Sea of Thieves before this. We were quite into it actually. It was very difficult to pull ourselves away just to come and stream, but we are excited to do both. So we can probably game a little more at some point
Mm-hmm.
soon-ish. Well, I know Monkish can game all the time, most of the time.
Yeah,
So
most of the time.
um, the I wish there was some redeeming quality for this film that I could be like, oh, it's really, really, or really, really fun. No, it's really, really accurate. No, that's not true.
It is a great pin, Joker.
What pen? Where? What? Oh,
There it is. There it's in screen
no,
on
it's
this.
not.
Well, I was gonna say it's in frame on my screen.
Put
Where
it
do I
in
need to
front
go
of your
with it?
face. There you go. Now it's on screen.
There we go. Yeah.
Only your head is on screen, really. And you keep getting bigger because you keep moving forward like this.
Yeah, I realize I keep leaning forward because I look at myself and I go, "Oh, my head's not quite big enough. I need to make it seem bigger." So I'm just gonna slowly get closer and closer.
Is that a 0.7, he says?
That is a 0.38.
A 0.38?
That's what it says. It's a G2.38.
That's pretty thin. No, wait,
Yep.
that's thick.
I mean, I'm thick. The pen is thin.
Sure, you can run with that idea if you'd like.
I mean,
Okay, you're going to disappear for a minute. I'm so sorry. I got to do this.
so again, you haven't told me what you're trying to do. Why you keep taking my beautiful face away from Joker's eyes?
Because I can. That's how.
Okay. Wasn't asking how. I was asking why.
Oh, because I want to. No, I'm trying to do something, and if you just give me a minute, you'll see how and why, and you'll love it.
Okay.
You'll
Well,
love
there
it.
for a second it looked like there was a sandwich on the screen, and I thought I was the only snack in
If you
this
just give me a
stream.
minute, you'll see how and why, and you'll love it.
Okay.
You'll
Well,
love
there
it.
for a second it looked like there was
Oh
a
no,
sandwich
there's
on the
me
screen,
coming
and I thought I
through.
was the only snack in
If you
this
just give
stream.
me a minute, you'll see. There we go. This is what I was looking for. I just had me go through like 3 times. Okay, here we go. I was looking for this right here. And I want to give it. Interesting. Nope, hold on. What in the crap is happening? I'm so confused. Are you still there? I just want to make sure I can still hear you.
I'm here.
Okay. Man, Joker sandwich. He's a married
You
man, he says.
know, what happens on Twitch stays on Twitch. It's fine.
This is not Vegas. Salty sandwich. Where is Salty? I wish he was here. I always miss my Captain Salty dog. Yeah, this movie it's an hour. I'm feeling the pressure of an hour for a movie that I barely wanted to watch for an hour. I watched it and put it on the list because there was a request, but then at the same time, it, it's barely in the vein. It has the name, and
um,
everybody's okay in it, and the jokes are really forced. I don't know.
so what this film is missing is the human element bad guy. This film definitely, like, as far as the human characteristics, the human standpoint would be, I think it would work better if, say, like, the mayor was throwing all of his power behind trying to basically act as if everything is 100% normal, rather than him just sitting in a room the entire freaking movie.
The mayor's role seems like he's supposed to be a slime ball, but like not, but like
Right.
he
He's a
is, but I don't
Yes.
know. It's kind of lame. It doesn't really work for me.
Honestly, his character feels useless in the film.
Well, it's basically just their way of being like, look, mayors suck, you know. They needed
Okay,
another
sure.
monster. So yeah, it's true. I mean, he was a monster, but
Right.
not really the kind of monster you're expecting. And I know that humans are really monstrous, you know, in all of this, and I get all that, but man, it just seems super forced to put a character that's
Mhm.
not that villainous. It's more just a candy loving idiot. Oh wait.
Seems like he's played that character before.
Let's see.
So my question is on this: how high do you think this Godzilla's stealth score is?
Oh, really high. Like he's got like a plus 20 to his stealth score because he can hide pretty much anywhere.
Right. Like at one point they had like 30 helicopters flying in between buildings. First of all, not exactly possible.
And
With
it snuck up on them, which
and
was
it snuck it.
so
It
freaking
goes in
hilarious.
one building on this side of the street and then pops out behind them.
I know, dude. It is so ridiculous how easily it does that. It blows my
Uh-huh.
mind. It's just one of those many things
But I
that
love that
you.
he somehow does all this without disturbing any of the buildings around him when it happens. Like he goes into that one building, breaking it, sure, and then apparently dives underground but causes no seismic activity at all to show like any shaking for any buildings or anywhere else he's going, and then pops up and just comes through behind them. No.
Of course, it's a Roland Emmerich film. This is the same guy that directed 2012. This is the same guy that directed White House Down, where Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum take down an entire terrorist organization. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's ridiculous. So yeah, no, it's so hard to watch these movies. It's
Oh,
so hard.
it's fair.
Like I don't know how to anymore. I don't know. I, I have to avoid them. It's almost like revisiting most 90s films are going to just make me feel this empty and this, I don't know, half of them just bug me. And I think this is how I feel about half of all movies. I think it's pretty much that they're either this crappy or they're good. And it's terrible, but that's where I'm
What's
at.
sad what's sad is there are worse films out there than this. I mean, there is still a film out there called Deathbed, the Bed That Eats People. Like,
What?
yeah.
What?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
What? Oh, maybe we need to watch that movie.
I if you can find a copy of it, go ahead and watch it. I have never seen it. I have heard it described and was like, who had a fever dream and put this to paper?
Um, Name it one more time.
If I'm 100% naming it correctly, it is called Deathbed, the Bed That Eats People.
And who buys this bed?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's one of those situations where a family or group of people, whatever, move into a home where this bed is already there, and they're like, "Oh, cool, a free bed."
Okay. So like any
Yep.
other typical terrible freaking horror movie, like Britney Spears. What does Britney Spears have to do with anything? Now I'm confused. So let's maybe move on. Oh, that was not who I was trying to give that to, but there it is. I wanted to give it to you, sir, and I don't know how to do that. I wanted to give it to Monkish because I want him to subscribe. So maybe I
Oh,
go like this.
maybe you actually spell my name in there, and it'll work.
No, that's not how I did it though.
Obviously, because it was a different name that popped in there.
No, I didn't type your name. You have
That's
to
what I'm seeing.
select the name. Click on his name. I don't see his name. Where is his name? Looking for his name. I don't see his name anywhere. Dude, you gotta chat. You gotta chat more. Put some name. Put your name in that chat, sir. Under mods. Under mods. You guys are confusing me, but that's okay. I need to learn this. Click this. Will that bring up people? There we go. Now I can click you. Nothing's happening. I'm terrible. I was trying to give you a sub, and that's what I've been trying to do. And it's there. Now it's working. Sort of. There it goes. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here it comes. There it is.
Subscriber.
Yeah. So there you go.
Fantastic.
Now you have access to the emotes. That's what I wanted.
Great.
And not only that,
okay.
I also wanted you to be on the channel and support the channel. So yeah, that's awesome. Done and done. Okay.
Fantastic.
So now you can start playing with emotes and such and having fun with it. You know, like this one, which I just love. Love this guy. Blam. He is part of the team. Heck yeah, he is. Angel, what's up? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You loving my TikTok? Did you like how I laughed incessantly at the Snyder Cut? Because that was really, 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 really rude. But I did it anyway. Because it's how I felt. And I thought TikTok's the place to be honest about how you feel, I think. So.
By the way, that's the only emoji that I've got access to from you.
What? Just working, Angel? That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's weird. You should have access to all three at this point.
That's the only one I've got, but we can figure that out later.
I mean, if I go into mine, I have this one, and this one. So.
No, if I had access to my own face, I would put it all over this chat constantly.
So Jesse.
See, Joker only has raid as well.
What the hell? Okay, well, I'll work on that. I'm not quite sure why that's happening, but it is. And so, yeah, we're gonna have to get that. We're gonna have to get that fixed. Kisses. I can't even tell what that is. Oh, I see. That's awesome. Very cool stuff. I like this kind of stuff. All the emote stuff is fun. So, anyway, more fun than talking about Godzilla, I'll tell you that. It's just not very fun to talk about. Wait, it's because it's a third tier emote? Oh. So okay, Jesse, you're obviously Twitch savvy, so maybe tell me more. Tell me more. Do you have emotes? Yeah, I did that. What the hell is that? Mother buns. That's awesome. That's great. I really want to.
This is how I know my eyes are bad. From a distance, that looks like two nickels being rubbed together, and then I get closer and go, "Oh, that's a butt."
That's okay. Somebody said balls deep, I think, last week, and I just saw two like orbs and the word balls, or deep, and I was like, orb deep. I didn't understand it until somebody was like, dude, it's tennis balls. I'm like, oh shit, balls deep. Okay. Raid snid sandwich. Oh. Nice. Okay, I only have one open. So how the hell do you open more? I'm really confused. I don't understand. It doesn't matter. We're going to move on to the movie It early because I would rather talk about that movie because there's so much more to unpack. There it is. Balls deep.
I like it. Before we move on to It, though, what is your rating of this film? Actually, better yet, what was your rating of this film before watching it as an adult, or this time, and then what is your rating now?
So I would have given it more like a 7.5, probably 7 when I was a teenager when it came out and really enjoyed it. And then now 2.5, 3, if I was in a good mood, I guess. Um, yeah.
Mhm.
You're falling off the screen again, by the way.
I keep leaning too far over.
It's
I'm
good.
sitting in a chair that's not comfortable, so it's easier for me to lean forward than it is to lean back against the chair. Um, but I'll try to set up straight for those posture checks when they do come around. Um, no, I when I was younger and watched it, I would have given this movie a solid 5. And for somebody who doesn't often, like, I don't know that I've ever actually scored a film a 10. So the solid 5 is, decently up there for me. I had a hard time even bringing myself to give this a 2. And I think I settled in on a 2 because there's still some redeeming qualities for it. But for the most part, it's just absolute dreck. So a 2. A 2 is where I'm at.
So I still think it's better than you do,
Yeah, that's
even
not
though it's
surprising.
crap.
That is not surprising that you think it's better than I do.
No, but like I said, I kept looking for redeeming qualities in it, and I couldn't find them. They're just it, and it's because I've been watching the Godzilla films. I've been watching the new Godzilla films, and they're the old originals and the new ones are good compared to this heaping pile of fish trash.
Yeah,
Um,
the new ones at least give you a Godzilla who is comparable to the old without feeling like it's repetitive.
So, by the awesome Joker scene in a minute. As far as the Rocky Horror Picture Show, we have totally seen it. Both of us have seen it numerous times. But no, we have not done a review on it. It's one of those films that's a little hard to do a review on because it's so well known and such a cult classic. And not only that, I think it's okay.
So, okay, so I know it's a little odd because of the technical genre that film falls under. I think it would be a great film to do for Pride Month.
Oh, we can. Totally. That may be the lowest score on the channel so far. Yeah, 2 is the lowest we've had. I agree, Jesse. It's really not
I, I
good.
can I can guarantee you at some point though I will give a score lower than that.
Oh, I will too. Just there's certain movies I'll give a 1, 2,
Yeah,
or just
but
be like, I'm not going to rate it.
I'm glad that I currently hold the record though for giving the lowest score on this channel.
I'm going to give this a 1.5 on principle.
You can't go back and change it after a record has been made.
That's not true. You can totally change your rating over time. It's been a little bit of time.
You okay?
So, yeah, let's move on to it because I'm depressed that we even did this movie at this point.
When you announced that was one that we were doing, you saw the groan across my face.
I know. I did. I really did. But that's okay. We're moving on. Moving on. So, we also watched It Chapter 2 this week. And man, oh man, oh man. The 2 movies, what gorilla are you talking about? We're not doing a gorilla this week, if that's what you mean. We talked about a gorilla last week without a lizard, and so this week we're doing a lizard without a gorilla. And so next week, strangely enough, we're going to talk about a fly, and we haven't figured out the other movies, even though we said we were going to. Weirdly, we should have. So, what do you think? Should we talk about those later?
Oh yeah, I think that's more of an end of the, like, we'll try to come up with some ideas for something. Maybe people in the chat could
redeem points
and pitch their ideas.
Oh, what Godzilla are we talking about? We talked about the 1998 Godzilla, that thing. The Blob is the 3rd film. We are totally going to talk about the Blob because we did watch it. That's this week. That's tonight. And then I watched part of the original, and we're totally doing the Blob tonight. So we're doing the Fly next week because we did not have access to the Blob or to the Fly, but we will coming up. Yeah. So kind of a twist around. Yeah, the Matthew Broderick one. The Matthew Broderick, Hank Azaria, Roland Emmerich lizard movie.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
the lizard, the disaster lizard movie. That's what I'm calling it. It doesn't deserve that name. It's weird. I used to not care. Now I care. I don't think I should, but I do. So It Chapter 2, which is a really strange film because it's, and I know Monkish already thinks this. This is something that Monkish has told me. If you've read the book, and if you've even seen the original, the 1989, or I'm sorry,
The TV
1990, the TV series, the mini series that was 3 hours. The pacing and the story is driven by the crossover between the two stories, between the adults and the kids. In the book, it's the same way. So you actually get to the um,
Welcome back, Alt.
welcome. You get to the um, climax of each film or each story, if you will, at one time in both the book and the original film. And this one, it's two different films, two different times for a climax. And it's hard to rebuild that story the second time. And I know that that's what Monkish WIKK is possibly going to say about his struggles with this film.
That's exactly what I'm going to say about my struggles with this one.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I mean, ultimately, yeah, you said it right there. It is so hard to actually rebuild that climax. It, it well, and Alt needs to go.
Say it. Bye. But come back.
Bye.
Thank you for stopping by even for a second. Any amount of time is wonderful.
Basically, it's the whole idea of a continuous just loop of the same jump scare over and over again. Eventually, you're just gonna go, okay, cool, seen it. No longer scares me. Like it's just gonna, You get to the second film in this, and other than a couple of scenes, really, you're just I felt anyway like I was just going through the motions of watching it. Like it did not have the ability to hold the way that even the TV miniseries did. Um, oh, you got a subscriber.
No, I gave a subscription.
Oh, you gave a subscription.
Angel's been very nice to us and has great stories, so I really wanted to give Angel a subscription.
Oh, well, have fun with that live situation. Hopefully, you can get your 3 viewers.
Please do make sure you prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Have fun. Enjoy. Of course. I'm glad to get at least an emote for everybody to play with. It's only one and it's a raid one, but I raid every time, so that makes perfect sense. So that at least we have the raid elephant for everybody. I'm gonna have to go get myself some water soon.
You should come prepared with water. That way, when people flood you with hydration checks, you can go.
You mean because you're almost out and need to refill anyway?
I still have a jug right here.
Oh man, yeah. The closest thing that I have
I
to
even
anything,
had
I have a
homemade pickles as a snack.
I have a flashlight. I can't really drink that though. Can't really drink a flashlight.
That'd be real interesting.
Yeah, no. I have my zombie. Oh no! I have my zombie virus. I could drink him, except he's made of stuffing.
What did you drop?
Things.
Okay. Sure.
I dropped my little tiny tripod. This little cute little tripod thing. It's
okay.
Tiny. Yeah, you see that? That's all. I'm about to drop it again. Yeah, because my stuff is cluttered. It just doesn't look like it from where we're sitting.
I know you well enough that I know that your stuff is cluttered because I know the room that you're in. So, yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm not in a room. This is a studio.
You're telling me that a studio isn't a room for recording?
Touche. So, when they come into It Chapter 2, there's a sense of, knowing what's happened, but it sucks because the studio took 2 years to greenlight the film, so the kids grew up a lot, and so those in-between scenes that are supposed to take place the same summer or before A little disjointed, feels a little weird, but
If they were smart, though, they would have filmed those scenes ahead of time with the children.
yeah, I know, but that would have cost more money, and the studio wasn't backing them for doing that. That's why they didn't call it Chapter 1.
I guess that's true.
They literally called it It. That's how it was released in theaters, just It.
Yeah.
And then Chapter 2 comes out, called Chapter 2, and now I think you can see it called Chapter 1 if you go look, but I don't think so. I think it's still called It. So,
I mean, either way, yeah.
oh, you're
No
way
matter
out of
what you
sync.
call this film, I'm way out of sync.
Oh, you're better now.
Okay. But anyway, either way, it doesn't matter what you actually call this film. It doesn't change the fact that it's not a good film.
I disagree, and I disagree wholeheartedly.
I do.
So, for me, I just rewatched it today. I watched Godzilla earlier and Blob, but this I watched today in its entirety, and man, it hit me in a way that most movies don't hit me. I was pretty blown away by how heavy the second film feels. It's much more of a drama, and the way I found it is the second film is 100% a getting over your fears film. That's the whole story of it as a whole, but the film embodies that very, very well because each of the adult characters has to grow up, face their own bullshit, and get through it. And it made me realize something, that whenever I look out at the darkness, which is the thing I grew up as a kid being afraid of, I would always be afraid and I could never know why. Well, I do know why. I'm projecting the fear into the forest, right? It's not really there.
Right.
I'm making it there. And since I'm the one projecting it to the forest, or the darkness, if you will, then that means I have full control of it. And that's what the second movie is 100% to its core about.
Yes, I can agree with you on certain aspects of what you're saying. The thing that stands in my way of agreeing with you on that, though, is Bill regains his stutter
Yeah.
because his fears come back to him. I think, honestly, I could 100% agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that these people leave the town of Derry and then they forget entirely everything that happened until they actually come back.
But that's okay.
But is it, though?
That's the effect that it has on them. It has on them.
Yeah. I know that that's even part of the book. Like, I'm not complaining about that element of the story, but I'm saying I don't feel that the way this film was executed was actually an appropriate way of paying homage even to that story. I I don't know. I tried so hard to like this film, and it's enjoyable enough. It just does not hold its own in any way, shape, or form, and it completely pales in comparison for me to the first film.
That's sad, because I think this is the really great aftertake. It is in control of the whole town, which means that since they were born there, raised there, and affected by it directly, they got closer to it than anyone and lived. It would affect them, and so the moving away, I think, is what had an effect on their memory. They had to come back and discover what happened in order to get strong enough together. And watching this with what Stanley says, with the way Stanley begins the film and ends the film, it's so touching to me that, after all, Stanley is the one that is the strongest of the losers.
Yeah.
Period. Like, that's what I got out of it. It does control the whole town, though, and it's ridiculous how much. It controls even Henry when he's not even in the town. He's outside of the town in a mental institution. It's not said so much in the movie, but in the book, they definitely say that it's not in the same town. And there's definitely some changes from the main book. Mike has a different story this time around. Eddie has a different story this time around. Everybody else is the same, I think.
for the most part.
Beverly's is the same, Bill's is the same, Ben's is the same, but that's the dynamic. You can't change that love triangle. That's like the big part of the film.
Right. And one thing I will say is Beverly's is almost shot for shot the same as the book.
Yeah, no, they did a good job with that. But
yeah, they stuck to her character like it was, you know, a verse from the Bible. Like they were like, nope, this has to be exactly what it is.
Because that's, well, she's kind of the heart of the book in a lot of ways. But
Yeah.
For me, when I watched this one, I felt like the special effects weren't as on point, but at the same time, there's a purpose to that. I think the more cartoony aspect in this one is because these are adults seeing him instead of children, and so they're not as scared because he's more animated than they remember. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, yeah, that could definitely make sense. I mean, so there are plenty of people who have irrational fears. But then there are a lot of people who have those fears as a child that they then grow up and go, wow, why on earth was I ever afraid of that? A lot of the time for people, that is clowns. It starts out as, you know, a fear as a child. And then as you grow up, you go, oh, they're just people in makeup. So, you know, not everybody, but some people, you know, end up feeling that it's just clowns or people in makeup and they lose that fear. What it comes down to, though, is there there is that certain cartoony standard, and I think that's actually part of what detracts from the entire feel of the film for me.
But these are adults that literally have come back to try to face something that gets its jollies from putting fear mostly within children.
Right, and I totally understand that. I I I don't know. I just again, I feel that had they actually blended the two stories together from the get go, it would have been a much more cohesive story that was told.
Oh, you got to hydrate. Joker said
Or
so.
I'm gonna re-pour here. But yeah, or it turns into a fetish. That is also a possibility.
If I'm going to hydrate, I got to go get some water. That's going to take me a minute.
I mean, where
Is
you're at
that
is
that
12
wine?
steps. I wish it was wine, but I am drinking a flavored water beverage.
I'll be right back.
But no, actually, I asked Mr. Snidbits if I could drink while on the show, and he told me no. So if y'all want me to drink, you gotta convince him to do it, or to allow it anyway. So has everybody in the chat actually seen it chapter 2? We might have covered this last week. I just can't remember because my memory is not great. I am always down for a monkish wick sandwich. So you've only seen the TV three-parter. Okay, interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm not like just completely dumping all over your dreams of watching these films. Um, but yeah, I can tell you I would rather watch the made for TV three-parter than it chapter 2.
Oh yeah, I'm back.
Okay. You missed a monkey sandwich.
I didn't miss it. It's right there.
Well, I mean,
Let's
you
see.
missed it in the moment. It was more of a moment thing.
Ooh, fancy. I have, but I can't remember much of what.
I asked if everybody in the chat had actually watched
It
chapter
too.
1 and 2.
I think they're pretty dope. Overall, I like them as a pair. I think they're better than the original TV movie. That's just me.
I was just saying that I would actually rather watch the TV movie than the second film.
Yeah, but you don't get the whole story with the second film.
I'm sorry, what?
You don't get the whole story with the second film?
Yeah, I understand.
Or with just the first beam? I mean, just the first one doesn't give you the whole story.
But you know what? It comes to a final enough conclusion of that it's fine.
Is it?
You can leave it up in the air that it, or not up in the air. You can leave it up to your own imagination that it comes back every 27 years and the havoc it can wreak. I just don't think that this second film, the way they did it, was a good enough portrayal of it to actually allow it to be made.
I disagree. I disagree because it hit me. It hit me hard. I had an existential crisis. I cried. It got me.
It is okay. It is okay for you to be emotionally into a film that should not exist and therefore be wrong. It's totally fine for you to do that. I felt no emotions with this film, and maybe that's on me.
Tim Curry was good, but overall, the cast in the original film in 1990 was they were okay. They weren't that great. And the kids did not match with this. Those actors matched those kids, and they acted just like them. They did a great job. That's just me. So, how does anybody in the chat feel? Did they like this second one? I know Jessie said she hadn't seen it in a while. But did you like it when you did see it? Because for me, I liked it more the second time.
Also, on my opinions on everything, I am more than inviting everybody in the chat to completely tell me I'm wrong.
I think he does.
Always had that flair. Yeah, he's always had that flair.
Your camera has fallen all the way down, sir.
What on earth?
There you go. Now lean back a little. And then over a few minutes, you'll fall into perfect frame.
Great.
Not a life-changing experience. It wasn't for me the first time either. I think now, because of where my life is, it was a little bit more. Smash Bros, what movies do you watch so that we can maybe include you? You know, we want to include the chat.
Yep.
No, you're still going to do your pick. I know that, but I'd love to hear what your genre is, if you will. Tell us your genre. And what's your favorite genre while we're at it, Monkish WIKK?
Oh. What I'm going to start off with is my least favorite genre, and that's Westerns.
Okay, we're going to agree there.
Yeah. Backdoor Slots 9. Okay.
He's referring to a
I'm
one of those other kinds of movies we don't review. Sorry about my candy eating, but I figure we're talking about movies.
Honestly, when it comes down to it, my favorite genre is realistically going to have to be specifically, I hate it, but it's specifically going to have to be animal attack films.
Broaden it. Give me broader. So horror?
Well, no, not even horror necessarily, though, because not all animal attack films are horror. The Sharknado films are technically animal attack films.
They're horror. Bad. Horribly bad.
That's a stretch of the word, but...
Smash likes fantasy, so we're going to disagree a lot. That's okay.
Fantasy is a great place to be.
Yeah. Eh.
But
Hey, hello, Gothgash. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming by.
so let's say then you want broader than that. I enjoy pseudo horror. I enjoy horror with a slightly more comedic twist to it, typically. Does that kind of
It
fill that
does.
a little bit for
It
you?
does. Did you like things like Tail or Ducker versus wow, Dale versus
Tucker and Dale versus
Tucker and
Evil.
Dale versus Evil? Yeah. Did you like that one?
I liked almost everything about that film except for the last like 10 minutes of it, maybe even 15 minutes of it. But
It has been so long
yeah,
since I watched Leprechaun Goth that it's been way too long.
so I actually just two, maybe 3 summers, 4 summers ago now, roughly, forced a friend of mine to sit down and watch all of the Leprechaun films in a marathon. And I have never, ever in my life so badly regretted a decision.
You
Like
watched all
that,
of them in a row?
we watched all of them in a row. And I mean, let's see, we watched, I think it was the first 5 of them in one day, and then got up the next day and watched I don't even remember at this point how many are left, but so Leprechaun in the Hood, yes, I can very much agree with you there. Except for some of the places I've been in this country. Some of the places I've been in this country would be more racist than that film.
Yeah, but still, the fact that they made that film. But there was an era between like 99 and 2008 where everybody kind of did whatever they wanted in film.
Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a Leprechaun in the Hood 2 or like Back to the Hood or something like that?
I would have to IMDb that. I don't know.
That's ringing some kind of, bell basically, but
I bet. My family's from the rural South, ultimately. And so, yeah, I have a very interesting background. But yeah, it's a series that's not even good from the beginning. So it's really hard to get all the way into the Leprechaun films. Right now, Goth, you came in right while we're talking about It Chapter 2, which is one of the movies we're reviewing this week. We do 3 movies a week. This tonight we did the 1998 Godzilla film, which we did not rate high. Now we're doing It Chapter 2, and then we're going to be moving on to the 1988 Blob. We're doing a Monster Madness lead up to the Godzilla vs. Kong here at the end of the month. So, wait a minute. How do you sign up for Movie Club? What's Movie Club?
hold on just a second.
Friday the 13th in the Hood coming soon. Oh yeah, we watched 3 a week. So we announced what we're going to watch tonight for next week. And so you watch them and then we review them and we can talk about them all together. That's the goal. So I know for sure that we're going to be watching The Fly next week. That was on request. And if you go to the channel points, there's points to add and gain, and you can actually directly pick a film. Nice. Well, welcome. We are glad to have as many viewers as want to come watch us do some fun movie talks and reviews. We could try to do more than 3 films a week, but man, that gets to be a lot of work. 3's 6, 7, 8 hours, depending on the films.
I will also say, with my penchant for procrastination, I watched 2 of these 3 films today within hours of us actually coming live on here. Maybe 3 is probably a good limit for right now.
Me too, but it will depend. There will be weeks where we do 4. So the week of Godzilla vs. King Kong, we're going to have all 4 of the Godzilla movies. We're going to have Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and we're also going to do Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, that's the whole point of this month leading up to. And then we are going to be doing Mortal Kombat next month when it comes out. So we may be doing like a 2 or 3 week really crappy video game movie series. So if you guys like dog shit movies, as is being talked about in the chat, are those Bi Fries?
What are Bi Fries?
Oh no, okay. So I have okay, so that's Fry Guy.
Oh.
No. So we are LGBTQA plus friendly, of course. And Monkish WIKK is what?
I was like, not just friendly, full blown.
Full blown. I'm just saying friendly, friendly, and 100% and ally, both. Every aspect. And so yes, Fry's here, right there. Fry Guy was my original host. He's no longer with the show for now. Gay recognized gay. I got you. So Fry Guy requested to be a mascot of a bucket of fries, and so I drew a bucket of fries based on the White Castle fries, because classic French fries, right? And
don't say that. I have to pay royalties.
And of course, Fry Guy said my favorite colors are pink and purple, so I painted the fries pink and purple. Put glasses on them because Fry Guy wears glasses just like that. And so yeah, I just do the different artwork. I'm working on a penguin for Monkish currently. So
can we make it a drag penguin? Can we put that out there? Can we make it a drag penguin?
So what I'll do is I'll draw a base penguin, and then we can draw the penguin both as Monkish WIKK and the alter ego.
Fantastic.
So yeah, we can do that. So, and I don't live near White Castle either. We are West Coast people. You can probably tell by our lack of accent or our West Coast accent, depending on how you look at it. Everybody really always tells me I don't have one. What were you saying?
What's really sad is you don't have to live next to a White Castle when Walmart sells their products.
Not the same. Not the same.
I know it's not the
Pulling through a White Castle drive-through has got to be so much better than even remotely getting frozen. I want real White Castle. I want that in my life. I really want to live on the East Coast for a little while. That's just me.
I have never had a White Castle product, not even from like the frozen.
Oh, I have. That's how bad I want them. I've eaten that shit out of the freezer, and I should never have done that. So,
but hey, if it interests you at all, we're supposed to be getting an In and Out sometime soon. Does he call you a donut?
Drag Penguin reminds me of Jinx from the Pokemon. That's great. I love it. Although I don't know Jinx. Yeah, I know Jinx. It took me a minute to think of
the most potentially racist Pokemon designs, but yeah.
Well, now just a drag design, according to Angel. So. I think I would blush. I think I'd be like, oh, a celebrity just, yelled at me. Yeah, and I'll try not to make it look like Jinx. Like I'll make it a penguin, and then we'll dress it in drag.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. So what did you think of the casting of this film?
I thought the casting of this film was spot on.
Even McAvoy?
Even McAvoy. Like, I mean, I'm also a McAvoy fan. I enjoy him. I enjoy looking at him. But I cannot complain about the casting of this film. Like, I don't think at all. Again, the only thing I can really complain about is the fact that these two films just feel so separated, even though they're the same story.
Why do they feel separated? Okay, so they should feel separated, though. You're talking about 27 years. You're talking about people who went away and did something else with their lives completely for almost 30 years and then came back to a place they never remembered. It's going to it needs to feel disjointed. That's the whole point. It needs to make you feel like you don't belong there.
I don't think it needs to feel disjointed. I think the best way to actually tell that story is to go, okay, even though they went away, there's still all these little things that have been happening throughout their lives that maybe make things seem a little bit more necessary to go back to Derry. Rather than just out of the blue one day they all go, I kind of have a memory because somebody called me and said...
But that's how it happens in the book. King wrote it that way.
I understand, but the way things are done in a book does not necessarily transfer to screen in the same manner. I think that in certain regards, it is okay to adapt the story to make them fit for film in a better way.
I don't know. I'm still going to say I really enjoyed it, and I didn't expect to, because I didn't think it was amazing the first time. But when I watched it this time, it hit me differently, and I think I was just more open to it. I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that today was the right day to watch the movie, because I think we can all say we experienced this. There have been movies you've watched and you were like, wow, I hated that. And years later, for whatever reason, you rewatch it and you went, wow, I really liked that movie. Was I in a bad mood that day? And I found that sometimes that's true. So I think I was just in the right mood for it today.
I did that with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like, will fully admit it. Like, I hated that film the first time I watched it. And then went back a couple years later and watched it and went, oh, okay, I can see how it's an okay film.
You have slid off screen again.
I don't know.
Can you see yourself on the stream?
Yeah, but it's got like probably close to a 45-second delay for me at this point.
That's okay.
Am I back in frame now? Is that working for you? Do I need to just lean clear over here?
Can't zoom out.
Nope. I unfortunately have a very small space that I'm working with. I've got a giant, like, queen-size bed with a huge frame around it, like literally right behind me, just out of screen. So if I zoom out further, y'all will see me laying on bed, and that's for a different website.
I'm seeing if I can zoom you out. I'm not seeing it, though. Nope, not seeing it. So, no.
Am I at least in frame, though, when I sit like this?
What link? What link do you need?
I was talking about the link to, or the me laying in bed being a different website.
Right, no, as long as we can hear him, I guess that's true. That's what's most important, is that we can hear him.
It was a good joke. I will give you that.
So, this film, I think as I moved to the wrong thing there. Okay, we're back. Sorry, that was just ridiculous. For me, I guess I related to the characters as they fought back against Pennywise at the end. Do you have your OnlyFans page up for us, Monkish, to put on the linked?
Okay, we are not putting my OnlyFans link in here.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
I'm putting it in there.
No, we're not. No. We're going to put mine, though.
And I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, Lord. Look what you started.
I didn't start anything.
As much as this show is rated for adults, it's still, we're trying to maintain a PG-13 atmosphere. Just ish. A couple F-bombs, some parental guidance suggested stuff. Just, I know, it's fantastic. Like, we just want to make our audience comfortable and have a large enough audience base. If that makes any sense. I know that when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, I would have loved to be able to chat about horror films and films with anybody who wanted to talk about them. And not everybody I was, hanging around then wanted to talk about movies. So I'm trying to leave it open for people, but if we have to and it gets really stupid and risque, then I'll just lock it all the way down. So, because I'm open to that, but rather not. Anyway. Oh, no, and no scolding. The chat is going to be the chat. Besides, I have bots that are on the run here. They'll do whatever they want sometimes and just ban people. So it's like a Russian roulette in there. So
that sounds great.
No, just on banning. It's not, not like a
I'm just
not like
a
not like a Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they did add elements of this from the book into this movie, which I thought were great, like the giant,
the Paul Bunyan.
The Paul Bunyan, thank you, which I thought was fantastic, and I think the rubberiness of the guys. Like, I know that I said this already, but I liked that they were more over the top. And I am a germaphobe, by the way. Bad, not Eddie bad, but bad, and those parts really bad. They get to me bad because I don't like spit, And so seeing that leper spit all over Eddie, it makes me sick. It makes me have
But
problems.
okay, with that
That's
scene
just me.
specifically though, what was with the choice of music there? It completely took it away from anything horrific and made it almost funny.
Because it's meant to be. Eddie got over it in that moment. If you listen to the whole film, at the very end, he's like, in that moment, he started choking the leper and started to realize that it was flesh and that it was small and that it was weak. And so that song is a part of that.
Yeah, it just, even with all that, it still feels like that song is just out of place. I don't know. I did not care for the song placement
Angel
there.
in the Morning?
Yeah, I didn't care for it. I didn't feel that it was actually something that fit.
Are you one of the people that thinks they should have played the Iron Man ACDC, or no, the Iron Man Iron Maiden song right at the end of Endgame?
No.
A lot of people think that.
I mean, a lot of people can think things. That's on them.
That is on them. So, what about the creepy factor? Because we talked about creep factor last week. And we didn't talk about creep factor on Godzilla because we're not going to.
Well, there's no creep factor to Godzilla. Not that Godzilla, anyway. The creep factor on this film, like, I gave the creep factor on the last film, what, a 9? An 8? Something like that?
I think it was a 9.
I think it was a 9, yeah. On this, honestly, I drop it down to a 3.
Really?
Yeah, I did not. I felt that this film failed in so many ways. It didn't feel creepy. It didn't feel scary. I didn't get emotion. This film could have hit me with a 2x4, and I don't think I would have felt anything about it.
Maybe you're still a kid at heart.
I mean, my body screams otherwise with all the aches and pains, but sure.
I say that because having kids, and I don't mean this to be like, well, people who have kids are grown up, because it's not true. But having kids and losing my dad has made me think things in a very different way. And I didn't see this movie since those things happened. Well, I think I saw it Chapter 2 right after my dad died, but I hadn't had kids yet. Or if I had, it was right new, and when it's brand new, you don't really realize what it's like. It takes like a year for it to happen.
It Chapter 2, I believe, was in theaters just before your kiddo was born, and then I think when you guys
came out in 1919, right? This did.
Was it 19? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look.
Oh no, it came out this summer though.
Looking right now. Right, 2019, and it was released. Why don't they ever just put the release date at the top?
Because they don't do that.
Fall of 2019. So okay. We watched it, but she was only like 6 months old, and we were definitely not feeling like parents at that point. My point is, I haven't watched it since I felt like a parent, and since I've really, my dad's death had sunk in, because it has.
Yeah.
I don't see death the same way in movies anymore. And I don't see kids the same way either.
I wasn't trying to say that, the timing of it, had any real, like, effect on how you felt for it. Like, that's totally on you.
You're good. You're good.
Just trying to factor in the timeline in my own mind of when everything actually happened. Because, after, God, what is this, 15 years of you being part of my family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely been a while.
A lot of time frames blur together. But going back to it though, again, the creepy factor was just not there for me for this film. I think to me the creepiest of scenes, and it wasn't even really that creepy, it was more of a almost gore fest, was the scene in the Chinese restaurant.
I like when the girl walks in on them and she sees nothing, and Mike's just beating the table, just blam, blam, blam. Right. She's like, "Is everything okay?" That's not how I would have approached that. I would have been like, "What the hell? Could you please stop breaking my freaking restaurant?" That's enough of that. That's just, I mean, but
I mean, I would have immediately wondered what LSD they were on, or how much LSD they were on.
Am I the only one that when I hear a British actor speak with a British accent through like 18 movies and then they make a movie with an American accent that I can't unhear it? Am I the only one?
Are you talking about McAvoy specifically?
Yes.
So he also sometimes doesn't do the greatest American accent.
No,
Like,
it's
there's
not
some
just that. I
great-
think it's we're so used to hearing his British accent that we can't unhear it. I think that's what it boils down to because it's the same thing when I heard Ewan McGregor do it for the first time. I had already seen him growing up and I watched him in Star Wars and all these things. And then all of a sudden he shows up with an American accent and I'm like, that's not right. I know you're faking it. I know you're faking it. And because I know, it's almost like the uncanny valley for voice. I don't know.
Interesting. I mean, I don't necessarily think with McAvoy that I like hear him specifically, no matter what accent he's trying to put on. But there's definitely a lot of words that he attempts to use that don't really come across in an American accent.
Man, you are so big on screen right now.
I've got a big personality. What can I say?
I wish we could just make your camera go up and back.
I mean, we could make it go up, but we can't make it go back.
Oh no. Welcome back, Goth. Or do you prefer, well, let's go with Goth. It's the same thing the other way, although it's weird because there's some British actors that I hear their American accents so often that when they do a British accent, I feel the same way. Christian Bale is a good example of somebody. When I hear them do a British accent, I'm like, wait, oh, that's right, you're British. I forgot. Or Gary Oldman. You don't get to hear his British accent very often. So
No, because he does a damn good job playing an American or doing an American accent.
now Jessica Chastain did an amazing job in this movie because I think she played Beverly perfectly, and I think that she worked closely with the actress who played Beverly and got it figured out. I think that's true with most of them. I think they really dialed in the younger actors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have a single thing to say about the casting because it's all done really well, like amazingly well. Like,
So if the casting is done well, I don't know if Monkish Wick has seen that movie.
Oh, I have seen that movie, and guess what? I hated it.
You should rewatch it now that you're older.
I mean,
it's one of those ones.
If we go to review it, I might rewatch it.
He hated it, legitimately.
Looks at a follow button.
So
again, that's on you, but then you won't see this pretty face every week.
I could always just move you off screen.
I mean, you could, and especially I'm leaning so far forward, I'm probably off screen anyway.
Yep. Hey, what's going on, Lane? It's the Frost 50. How we doing? I threw you a sub, so donated 2 tacos.
I don't have tacos in front of me. Where are my tacos?
Yeah, I'm not eating no tacos right now. I would love 2 tacos. I'd love a taco. I'd take any amount of taco right now. A half taco. Well, maybe like a bite of taco. That's not quite good enough. That just make you feel like you needed more taco.
You know what's sad is I now have to have my tacos dairy free.
Oh, did you find out you're lactose intolerant?
No, I found out that I have a milk allergy.
Wouldn't that make you lactose intolerant?
It's different. Like a milk allergy, I could actually stop breathing due to anaphylaxis.
So like Pulp Fiction?
Like I need to start carrying an EpiPen around on me to be certain.
I can Pulp Fiction you sometime?
Not in the chest.
Oh.
It's in the thigh.
Well, that's boring.
It's in a meaty part.
Can I do it?
If it happens
Please?
and you're around me.
Yes. Oh, God, I'm going to get you dairy somehow.
That is rude. but trust and believe.
Oh shit. Goth actually, Monkish Wick is my brother-in-law. So we're family. That's why I'm asking if I can do it. So because
But yeah, trust me, if and when it ever happens, I'm not going to complain about whoever jabs the thing into me. But
I'll save your life. I got no problems with that.
say somebody better do it and then get my ass to a hospital.
If you're family, you have to let him. Yeah, I think that's how it works. I'm gonna see if I can get myself as big as Monkish Wick here. I don't think I can though. I might.
I am setting like a full head above you in this.
I know,
screen,
it's
and
the
actually,
weirdest thing.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, except your head's cut off and it looks like crap.
Well, that's because of your placement, not mine.
Nope, you're above your camera. I can't stop it.
What's funny is I'm setting in pretty much the same exact position I've been setting in most of this.
If I can get a little closer.
We are again we're getting off topic.
Oh yeah, that's what we do. We
cameras and.
There we go. I'm trying to get ridiculous
at the same time, I honestly don't have a whole lot else to say about this movie because to me it's an film. Like if it didn't actually elicit an emotional response for me in any way, shape, or form, then what's there to say other than I just didn't care for it. I'm saying it's a film that was it was well filmed. The story was decently thought out. The actors were well chosen. The effects were pretty good. I just it didn't click with me.
And that's fine. That doesn't mean that you're right about your opinion, though. I'm kidding, of course. So, no, I understand why you didn't like it, and
I'll go back to OnlyFans.
It makes sense. People love me on OnlyFans. So, so the thing about this film for me is that it feels like it finalizes the story. They do figure out a way to take care of it, and it wraps up nicely. And I'm big on endings. And the first one ends, but it doesn't end like the story's over. It ends like it's an intermission, if you will, or interlude.
I don't think that this story wraps up nicely. It wraps up, but I don't think it wraps up nicely.
How so?
I think that the way that they take down the titular character is absolutely ridiculously bad. Like
to make him small?
To make him small is one thing, but to have this moment where everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna go and do this, and then we figure out what we need to do, and then they just all resort to yelling at him that basically that he's worthless. Like,
yeah, they bullied the bully or they bullied him back. They made him small and they took his heart away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to do with bullies. You take their power away. You take the fear away.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm not saying that that's incorrect, but I'm also not saying it's correct.
Okay, how about this? What would you have done?
I would have never gone back to the town.
No, as the director and storyteller of the film, how would you have ended it?
I thought if I was in the story, I'd have been like,
no.
Honestly, I could not tell you. I have never been in that seat as the director or storyteller. I have only ever been in the seat of viewing the films. So I don't have that ability to say, oh, this is exactly what I would do, because chances are I would be wrong. I'm just going to put that, like, I know I would have no actual understanding as to what goes on behind that camera and what difficulties they face in even getting that story out in the first place.
It's not a fifth dimensional being in the movies. They say exactly what it is specifically. I would argue that maybe in the book, but no.
I don't remember if they specify in the book that it's a fifth dimensional being.
In the movie, they definitely say it's a physical being. They definitely say that a couple of times. And then they do specifically say that it's not from this earth. Take that whatever you want. They don't specify beyond that, but it's not from this planet. So it fits under alien category and alive.
Yeah.
So that makes it killable. And of course, that's kind of how it is if you have things that aren't alive but still able to interact. Kind of hard to kill them. Really hard to kill them. Although people can still do it, I'm not quite sure how or why they're able to. But I don't know. I felt like the deaths in this movie were good. It hurt. That's what it should do. Watching Eddie kind of come into his own. You know, he's another one of the weak characters that has to grow stronger and stronger. The other five are already kind of strong already. They're built for this, if you will. Bill was already the natural leader. Eddie had to face his fear with his comedy. Not Eddie. Richie, sorry. Bev had to deal with her dad. That made her pretty strong. And then Ben overcame his own fears to some degree through his life with his weight. So I think those characters were already strong. To see the two weakest characters become the strong characters is not something you see often in film. And so I guess as a broken person, that kind of touched me, I guess.
So I've got two different points that I'm going to make here on this. First is a very small, just wanted to say it real quick. The whole, the Bev dealing with her father thing could have been great. I think the whole idea of her going to that apartment where they once lived together and the whole like old lady scene, that could have been amazingly creepy, and it just did not hit for me.
It didn't creep you out?
Not even remotely.
The scene gave me the
not
willies.
Not even remotely. Second, I'm going to move on to, I am getting so fed up with this whole kill your gays thing that is in films, and especially horror films. You know, like we have that moment where Richie, you know, that kind of throughout the movie, he kind of, you know, lets the audience in more and more on who he is as a human being, only for him to wind up dying in the end. And it's like,
Richie didn't die.
The comedian?
Richie does not die in that movie, dude.
Doesn't he die in that movie?
There are two of the losers that die, and it's less than in the book. There are, I think, 3 or 4 that die in the book. In this, Richie survives, and he actually goes back to the fence and carves the E into the fence. That's his last scene. I watched it 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. But yeah, no, he survives. See, the only no, let me put this up because I'm trying not to be a total dill hole.
Yeah, I should have thought about saying spoilers ahead.
It's okay. So we're gonna put that up.
But at least my spoilers were wrong anyway. So this is all on you now.
Here it is. If you haven't seen it, I apologize. You can mute us, but here it is. The characters that do survive are Ben, Beverly, Bill, lots of B's there, Richie, and Mike. The characters that die are Eddie and Stan. And of course, Stan, if you even remotely know anything about it, that's one of the most famous deaths because he suicides himself at the beginning.
Right.
So Stan dies of it by suicide and of course doesn't show up. And then Eddie dies while fighting Pennywise. So anyway, there you go. Spoilers. We're moving back away from spoilers.
I take back that whole secondary part then.
I'm just saying, because don't get me wrong. At the beginning of the film, there are 2 gay characters, and one gets brutally beaten, but it's not by it. It's by humans, and we get to see just how trashy the people in Derry are. But again, there's something about this town that's not necessarily the people. Right. And I would argue that if these people lived in another town, they'd probably still be that way. Because you can, I don't know, I'm not trying to be that way, but they kind of, they embodied that in their personas, right. Not necessarily in the way they looked, but in the way they carried themselves and the way they treat people in general. So that scene is part of the reason I didn't go back and revisit this film, because it's really, really brutal and it's very real and it hits home to the reality we're living in right now. So,
and anyway. I know when the film first came out, there was a lot of talk about how that scene was completely unnecessary. And it was just gay bashing for the sake of gay bashing. And I don't agree with that argument. Like I can definitely see 100% the point they're trying to make. Being a gay person myself, like it was very hard to watch that scene. But I also feel that we should not shy away from things that are currently happening in everyday existence just because it's in a movie.
Right. In fact, the movies are what do a commentary on the society we're living in at the time. So There's a reason that's in there, and it might not
Right.
have been in the original, or it's not. If you go to the 90 version, that's
Yeah,
the fact that there are. Good night, Goth. Thank you very much for coming in and following, and we look forward to seeing you next time. We're here at same time every week, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, Sunday nights. That's I'm not sure if you're on East Coast or Central, but of course that would be either 9 or 10, depending. But thank you very much.
Have a good night, Goth.
The original film, the 1990 film, did not add any of the elements of the gay characters that were in the original book, which are a huge part of the original book. So I was still kind of happy to see those elements brought back, because that's something King was already doing commentary on in '85 when he released the book, because he's always kind of been kind of ahead of the curve on some things.
Right.
So yeah, to me, there is a lot of darker, deeper elements, and I think maybe that's why people didn't like this as much, because they thought. So this is me. So I like dramas a lot, and you know that I like really deep films, and so the first It is just a traditional scary horror film, and it's got the kids, which gives it kind of a Goonies feel, and so it's fun, right? It has this fun, over the top element, and the scare moments are scary enough because when the kids scream, you're like, oh crap, right? When the adults scream, you're like, nah, they wouldn't really scream like that. It doesn't feel quite right. But that's not the point. The point is this is a drama about adults overcoming their fear. That's what this movie is. And people don't watch it that way. They watch it the way they watched the first one.
Yeah.
It's a totally different genre. Don't get me wrong. There's horror in it, but I think it's much more of a thriller than it is a horror film.
I mean, sure.
A psychological thriller, if you will.
Sure. But I don't know. Even looking at it from a different perspective like that, it still doesn't change the fact that for me, this movie just does not click. It does not fall on the good side for me.
What would it need?
Honestly, I can't 100% say. Like, I would have to actually think about that and, really actually try to figure out for me what it would need to make it, something that's actually fun. But until then, I don't know.
Okay. That's fair. Why don't we go ahead and rate this film? Because I am going to need a restroom break.
Okay. What is your rating on this film? What is your rating on this film, and then as the story overall told between the two films?
Well, I think I rated it, Chapter 1, a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And upon the first viewing of this film, I probably would have given it a 6.5, 6. But I'm going to move it up to an 8. I think it became a solid film on my second viewing, and it's one I'm actually going to revisit. And this next time I revisit them, I'm going to watch them back to back. I've never done that, and I want to watch them back to back to see just how well that story flows. So to give your second question an answer, I don't have one yet because I'd like to see them back to back before I rate them as a whole.
Okay.
And it was close, but it was like a week and a half apart. So
yeah, I think ultimately I would rate this film by itself probably it'd be a 4. And then overall with both of them as a story, I rated I rated the original
that was weird.
A 6, I believe.
No, you think you rated it higher than that?
I'm pretty sure I rated it a 6 out of 10.
We should be writing these down.
I did write this all down. I've got my notes somewhere, but it's a matter of finding it, which would mean me likely tearing apart my room to figure out where in my hurried cleanup today I threw them at. But anyway, I rated it either a 6 or a 7. I know it wasn't above a 7. I'm pretty positive it was a 6. I rate this movie a 4, and then in total of the stories, I would give it a 7. The whole story element, everything combined.
Interesting. That's interesting. Because you rate it higher as a pair than each film individually.
Well, because the second film still lends stuff to the story. It doesn't completely detract.
Jesse gives it a 7. Solid 7. Solid 7's good. That to me,
is Jesse saying it was a 7, or is she saying that I rated it a 7.
She says, I think it was a 7.
I understand. I'm just saying when that popped up though, just clarification, was she talking about her rating, or was she talking about what she remembers me giving the film a rating of?
Oh, I see.
Because there's the question mark on the other side of the 7. So
if I could read, this would go over better.
Well, yeah, but 3rd grade is difficult.
So, yes, 3rd grade was difficult. I had to move a couple times that year. Thanks for bringing it up, Dick. So,
yeah, this movie is all about getting over childhood trauma, isn't it?
It is, and I'm glad I watched it because it's helping, I hope. He rated the movie a 7. There she goes. She knows.
Okay.
We don't know. She knows.
I mean, I could have gone back to watch the last week's stream, but I didn't. So here we are. So still, cool. Rated the first one a 7. Rate this one a 4. 7 to an 8 then is what I will give it.
You still think it's better as a pairing?
I still think it's better as a pairing, but only marginally. Like, not enough to actually realistically change the number. Just a 7.2. I mean, does that work? Like,
you can point to 0.9999 if you. It doesn't matter to me. Just the 10 scale is if that first number is the most important.
Okay.
But that one's the most important. So creep factor, you never said. You said it was low. It was like 4.
The creep factor, low enough that I don't know that it actually registered in any real way with me.
What about gross factor?
2?
Really? Even like pukey scenes and the.
Again, if the pukey scene in the basement of the pharmacy or the downstairs area of the pharmacy had not had that song, it would have ranked higher for me. It would have felt creepier. It would have felt more disgusting.
It was still gross, even without that song. Like with or without it, it's still gross.
I think the song detracted so much from the scene that it completely took me out of it.
Oh, hold on. Wow, my apologies. Okay. So, I think we've done the It movies pretty well. We've covered both of them, and we're going to move on to the Blob here in about 5 minutes. But we are going to take a quick couple of minutes. I'm not going to kill the stream because there's no need. But we will be right back. Maybe I will put the "Be Right Back" back up.
I was gonna say, I'd say put the "Be Right Back" up because I also have to step out the camera for a minute, so they would just be staring at my computer.
The only gross scene for you is the Chinese restaurant scene. I get that. We'll be right back, guys. And we're back. We are back. Hello, hello. Thank you for the break. Whew, really need that sometimes on these 3-hour stints. I know that seems not done a lot, but I sit in this chair for work too, so man, it can get it can get hard. So yeah, thank you. So let's see. We went through Godzilla, but we went through Chapter 2 for It.
What?
And now we're going to talk about The Blob, 1988's The Blob. This is kind of one of those sleeper films. Most people don't know this film. Thank you. And welcome back to you as well. At least to the chat. But this is one of those sleeper films that people don't really know as much. And you either have seen it or you haven't. But I'll tell you that from my experience, this is one of the better unknown horror films out there. This still has a lot of elements that give it a creep factor that's still around. There are a lot of creepy movies from the eras they were in that are just funny now because they don't last the same way that these kinds of ones do. I literally just hydrated, so I pre-hydrated. I don't have any with me.
Of course I'm drinking. I'm out of my water. I will take a sip of pickle juice.
That counts for me too. That right there, that counts for me too. He drank pickle juice for the both of us. So wow.
Ooh, that's briny.
Wow. Didn't expect that. Okay. So not only do we you saw It when you were little, solid 9. So we were talking about the new It the 2017 and the 2019 versions, chapters 1 and 2 of the new versions. So.
Or is the It in reference The Blob?
Man, I'm not good at chat, am I? Uh, that's why I need a co-host. That's why I need a co-host because my elder millennial or young Gen X brain cannot handle chat rooms for some reason. I don't know what that is, but um, saw it when you were little. Solid 9. So yeah, it's a lot of people have seen or haven't seen this movie, but those who have really tend to think it's really good. No, Angel, thank you. Monkish totally corrected me there. Totally. So, um, it's interesting because I watched the original too because I decided why not. I'm just gonna watch both, and they do a pretty good job in the '88 one of following the original, but they diversify a little bit at least. And the female character isn't just this like side token, literally a side token. You didn't like it. You found most of the killings funny, interesting. That's very interesting because I found that movie still kind of creepy and eerie. But are you a big digital effects person? Do you like digital effects or do you like the classic like practical effects? Because if you look at my favorite movies list, most of them are practical effects. I'd say the majority of them are. So, yeah. How about you, Monkish? Are you a practical effect or a
So
digital effect person?
I am as much as possible a practical effects person. However, digital effect definitely does have its place. But the more realistic you can actually make something look by actually, for the most part, making it happen, I'm probably going to be way more into it.
But if the human that is acting can interact with the thing, I find that it's more realistic most times. That's
Yeah,
why I think
exactly.
Deadpool's an interesting character for the reason you love practical effects and you didn't like the Blob, but the practical effects really hang on better than most movies from its age. Interesting. Interesting. What's your
So,
what's your favorite practical effects film, Jesse? Go ahead, Monkish.
no, no, yeah, uh, it does very much depend on the movie when it comes to practical effects.
But like you have movies like
Okay.
the Jurassic Park films that rely heavily in the early days, at least, on half and half.
Yeah,
Because like the big heads where they were doing up close shots. Um, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is an interesting one because it is technically all practical effects with drawn animation. So like
right.
you're not wrong. So some of the stuff that Eddie plays with is like real, but then with like a comic overlay drawing on it. Anyway, I don't know if I'd count that one fully into what we're talking about because there's an after effect done to the film just like in CG, just done with literal drawings in that case. It's a unique film. It sits in its own like little place for a lot of reasons. I don't know. You were gonna. I still want to know. Let's see. Smash Brothers says I like the movie called The Stuff. I loved the practical effects in that. Sort of parallels with The Blob. I'll have to check out The Stuff. But again, you like those. You were saying you like those kind of more obscure B movies. So, are you a big Trauma fan, Smash? You like the Trauma stuff because there's some Trauma stuff I can handle, and then some that really just I can't really deal with. It irks me. So I don't know. No, there will never be another Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Never in existence ever again. Disney and Warner Brothers are never going to make that kind of an agreement ever again. And that kind of filming is over. They don't do that anymore. So the fact that it even exists is kind of one of those like miracles in Hollywood. So I'm glad for it though, because it's a great freaking movie. Like I love that movie. That movie, I can always revisit it. How about you, Monkish? You like Who Framed
About
Roger Rabbit?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always loved that film. I think realistically, for its time frame, it is an absolute marvel of a film.
Well, yeah. And you don't mean like MCU, right? Hey, I got to throw the dad jokes. That's my shtick.
Because we're all just dying to hear those, aren't we?
Some people, some people like dad jokes. You like over the top gore stuff? That's awesome. So, Human Centipede, Tusk, Evil Dead.
I mean, The Blob is also over the top gore stuff for its time frame.
It is. It is. I think that they took the acidic blob to a whole new level, and that's what I liked about it. They were they were pretty gross with it, and I think movies like this need to be gross. I think they need to sit solidly in the just like, oh God, I don't want that thing to touch me. Get it away from me, like a giant acidic snot bubble. You know.
I mean, I think ultimately for me, this film, yes, I felt that there were certain bits of it that were creepy, but I didn't think creepy was like the overall driving force behind it.
Really.
For me, this film had a lot of charm to it, and I know that's kind of weird since it's like pretty standard horror film, but the charm in it really came down to like the I know I have seen people like all these people actually in real life. I have seen the kid who is trying too hard to prove that he doesn't care about anything.
Even
I
though he
have
cares
seen,
about everybody.
even though he cares about everybody.
Right.
I've seen the kid who is so smitten with, another person that he would do or they would do anything to, be with that person, even potentially kind of making a fool out of themselves, and then getting a chance to, go on a date with that person and really kind of not doing a great job at it. um I know that that's just a little bit of the stuff that they cover in it, but I felt like there was enough charm with all the characters that I actually felt they were a believable town.
I agree.
I felt that it was a town that needed a hell of a lot more diversity, but again, this is 1988 we're talking about, so
There's also just people live in certain towns, and that's just it is the way it is in some way. In some cases, not in all cases. Yes, diversity's good, but you live in a town of 12,
well, I
two
mean,
families. Kind of makes it
this
difficult.
this is definitely a town of at least a couple of hundred.
Probably. I mean, it's definitely like a 3 street light town, maybe 3 street
Yeah,
lights, maybe 4. You wouldn't take a left or a right in this town. Wouldn't really take you anywhere.
might take you to your home, might take you to the movie theater. um but no, ultimately, I had not watched anything The Blob at all before today. And
Okay.
I sat down to watch this, and I had a couple of small notes as I was going, but about halfway through, I realized that I had been forgetting to take notes because I was so just drawn into the film. I enjoyed it enough that I went, yeah, no, like I'm in. I don't need to tear this film to shreds. I probably could if I tried, but I didn't feel it was necessary. I actually enjoyed what they put out for the film. Was it amazing? No. Was it Oscar worthy? Absolutely not. What it was fun.
Why would you even bring up Oscars with a horror film? That's pointless.
Yeah,
They
it's not
don't do
entirely
that.
pointless.
Name a horror movie that's won at the Oscars.
Parasite won the Oscars.
That's more because it was a foreign film.
Still, it's a horror film that won at the Oscars. That was
Okay, but that was this year. Can you name one
that was the
before that?
that was the challenge you gave me, and I met the challenge.
Name one before that.
You know that I am someone who does not fully watch horror films on the regular.
Or the
I am
Academy
that
Award films, for that matter.
That is true. But I'm that person who, when I watch horror films, I then have to watch like Disney films to recover. I enjoy horror films, but I also have to get myself calmed down from them afterwards.
Poltergeist, and then Finding Nemo.
Well, I mean, I don't consider Poltergeist scary, so
No, but really? That movie still
yeah.
scares me. Man,
I
okay.
have never once been scared by that film, and I don't know why. I'm still, to this day, I will not watch The Sixth Sense again because it messed with me so badly as a child. But I've watched Poltergeist so many times.
How many subs to get you to watch Sixth Sense? Okay, here's a better question. Chat, if you're there, tell us what genres you would really like us to focus on. If you can. If you can come up with genres. Because I noticed there's a propensity with chat for horror, and I'm willing to oblige. Because I like horror, and I can watch most of them, but I'm going to have a very different emotional critique of most of the horror films these days. But as far as Monkish, he's squeamish when it comes to most horror. and that's okay. That's not a mock. That's more of a what could we do to get him to watch certain horror movies kind of a thing. I don't know. Just a thought.
So,
Or what genres do you like so we can actually cater to our audience to some degree?
so I've also got a question. How many subs are there currently for the channel?
12,
12. Okay. So
I
if
think.
over the next month those subs could be matched, then I would watch The Sixth Sense and do a review on it.
Now you gotta understand that he probably will throw up, but that's okay. You
I
get
don't
to
know if
watch
I
him.
would throw up.
You get
I
to
don't know
watch
if
him
I'd throw up.
throw up or
I
have a
would
panic
watch it.
attack.
I know I would probably watch this film with my blankie.
With
Like,
your blanket
or
and a friend.
with my blanket. It is the times of COVID. I don't have friends.
We can watch psychological thrillers.
Psychological thrillers can be great.
I have a whole mess of those, and some we've never seen, and some that I'd like to revisit. Why not talk a little right now about psychological thrillers? Because I can tell you that one of my favorites is one most people. How many subs? So he said double what we have right now. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
24.
So if we have 12, then
Let
we
me-
would need to get to
Let me.
24.
I was going to look just to make sure, because that's a heck of a goal, and we can put that up as a goal. And you might not like the movie this time around. It's been a long time. It would be really interesting to hear what you think.
Well,
And that's
I
a
didn't like the
psychological
movie.
thriller. So
I didn't like the movie the first time around. It scared the poo out of me. So there's a
Zipu.
reason. There's a reason that now at 31 years old, I still have not gone back to watch a film that came out when I was 11.
I'm confused about something.
What?
How, when I went to this, I lost my connection to the thing.
Lost your
Oh,
powers of description are amazing.
Smash, we are right now we're joined together. We are family and we're together on this. So we are right now sharing this channel until we can get Monkish to affiliate. And then we can go crazy on both, or however we want to do this. So yeah, Monkish is also going to be doing a lot of gaming of his own as well. That's the reason I did a shout out for him, and I'll do another one right now because that makes perfect sense. Let me get my computer working properly. Shout out to Monkish. Wait, let's hope you're still in the chat, because last time I tried this, you weren't in the chat.
There, I'm in the chat.
Okay, you're in the chat. Good job. So yeah, if you haven't followed Monkish WIKK, follow Monkish WIKK, because he also does gaming and stuff, and all sorts of different types of games, including Dead by Daylight, right?
Yep.
And
one of my favorite games to play.
The Orphan would have to be one of your favorite psychological thrillers. That movie was a trip.
I have never seen that because the ending was ruined for me shortly after the film came out, and I went, okay. Like, the film was still in theaters, and somebody went to see it and told me how it ends. Like, didn't specifically tell me, like, to my face, but they were talking about it while I was in the vicinity, and I didn't really clue into what they were talking about until after they had revealed it, and then I went, oh, okay.
Yeah, we were playing Sea of Thieves. We'll play more of that. I like the game, but I have a baby and I have another baby on the way, so my show and a little bit of gaming happen, but that's about it. Plus, I work 40 plus hours a week.
The only babies I have are plants that need taken care of a couple of times a week. I'm pretty good on that end.
So yeah, but he'll be streaming more gaming and whatnot as well. So yes, you are not wrong to ask that question about the affiliate. The other thing we might do is once we get up to a certain point where Monkish has his own gear set up and a computer, because he's not there yet, we can actually do a multi-stream and have this full screen for both of us, have our own full setups, and go from there and try to push out the dual channels. Or we'll blend into one channel and just have this be the Bits and WIKK channel that we'll stream off of, or we'll do the show
I will
off
also
of, or both.
I will also say something else I've been wanting to put together is a role-playing group through streaming, where we actually could, play, whether it's D&D or Star Wars or World of Darkness, what have you.
Not everybody knows that one.
Yeah,
World of Darkness isn't as well known as the first two. But as far as psychological thrillers, Jesse, there are plenty that we'll definitely do. I'm open to new ones. I mean, one of the movies we did do earlier on was The Little Things, and that's definitely a psychological thriller. I think there have been others ultimately, but totally down. One of my go-to favorite psychological thrillers is Copycat with Sigourney Weaver and Holly Hunter. And I freaking love that
Which
movie.
I've still never seen.
You have not seen that? Okay, we do have it, so you totally
I think
can
it's
watch
funny.
it.
You and I have talked about this probably for 5 or 6 years now about how I have not seen it. And every time you have that same reaction, you haven't seen it? No, I have not seen it.
Dude, you what I'm saying is you need to see it. It's a fantastic psychological thriller. Anything with Sigourney Weaver, like to me, that she's like the goddess of actress, in Hollywood. I love her.
Especially that first 5-minute shot that she's in The Blob.
What?
Just the scene where the biker kid has his back to the camera. He's got that same pseudo perm that Sigourney Weaver used to have.
Oh, that's right. You were saying that. That's right. That's some funny stuff right there. Why can't I get back to what I was trying to find? I'm terrible at this. Jesse, you're gonna have to teach me far more about this. We're gonna have to figure this out because I am not good at Twitch. I thought I was better than I am, but I'm not very good at it. We got a follower. That was really awesome. Goth coming in and saying hi. That was very, very cool. We got a Southern follower. Not our only Southern follower. I know that there are other folks from the Florida area, and then we have some New York folks. What are you doing? Are you you? I'm watching you on screen, fool. Every time you're doing something, I can see everything you're doing.
I know you're watching me on screen. Don't call out the fact that I'm eating.
I just didn't know because you were like all I could see was like off camera. You were like poking at something. You were like poke, 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 poke.
I'm eating garlic stuffed olives. Okay.
I know that's fine. No judgment. No judgment. So you want to watch Mother, huh? I have not seen that either. But one of the things that we were thinking about doing and that we're talking about doing is trying to do more movies that are current movies. And that's one of the reasons Godzilla versus Kong came up, because I want to watch and review a movie literally right as it comes out. And so that's why we're going to also do Mortal Kombat. And so we're kind of relying heavily on HBO with their great releases right now. Otherwise, we're going to be reviewing Blu-ray and or digital releases as they come out. We're not going to be I'm not going to the theater for a long time. So I'm very at home.
You can rent out one of our local theaters, a whole theater completely to yourself and up to 20 friends that you could invite for $120.
Yep. People can do that. That's true.
I only know
this germaphobe to go do that during a Panasonic.
Yeah, I only know because my friend group has been looking at that as an actual potential just to get us all into a theater to watch a film, because it used to be what we would do every weekend, basically.
I know, but man.
Oh, I know.
I'm just glad they're releasing them at home. I think they should do that more. I think they should do that so much more. I'm really loving it.
You know how much I'm watching a brand new movie with the ability to hit pause whenever I need to pee?
Yeah, that way you don't miss anything, because you don't want to miss anything, man. I don't want to miss anything. Like, I want to sit and watch the movie fully. If somebody talks during them, I'm just like, pause, rewind for a second, turn the subtitles back on, and let me see the freaking movie.
Especially when you have a baby at home, though. A toddler, baby, all of the above. When you have that at home and they're screaming and throwing stuff at the television, it kind of makes it hard to pay attention to it.
It makes it impossible to pay attention to it, especially when my baby can scream at the highest pitch. She does R2-D2 screams. She does police sirens. She did a French siren the other day.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was awesome. Man.
Anyway, we've gone so far off track from this movie.
That's true. Go ahead, tell me more about this movie.
I mean, again, hadn't watched it before today. Watched it. I've not watched, the previous film. I don't know if there's been a remake since the '88 one.
No, this is the last one they made. This is the classic and the remake all at once. It's kind of a weird movie for that reason.
I the only the one of the things I will say about, on a negative side for the film, I wish that the lead scientist for the government would have had a little bit more of a comeuppance, like an actual, like, on-screen comeuppance, rather than just being sucked down into a sewer and then we go, oh, okay, cool. I fully agree. Fully agree that there's no better freedom than watching a movie without pants.
Try it at work. Yeah.
You're saying try the no pants while at work.
Yeah, I it's not that I don't wear pants. I wear pajama pants, but, I wear my pajamas at work. For the win.
I will admit, when I was working from home, I would roll out of bed, typically, wearing next to nothing, and just sit down at my computer, because I was never on video call or anything, and just do my job and be like, okay, cool, I've been here for 8 hours, I'm done now.
Yeah, no, it's there's not much that beats it. I can have as much coffee as I want, whenever I want it. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. It's everybody should have it. We should all work from home. If you can, try to work from home. Honestly, truthfully, it will make your life more better.
This is why I shouldn't eat on camera.
Why?
Because I just spilled pickle juice down the front of me.
You got to eat sometime, though, so don't stress it.
I know I have to eat sometime, but I could choose not to do it on camera.
Yeah, but that's boring.
So we seem to, though, be pretty much in agreement on the blog. Being a line cook pantless would not be a good idea.
Being a line cook what?
Without pants would not be a good idea.
Oh yeah, don't do that. That's no good.
Grease splashes things, and it gets really unpleasant real quick.
Yeah, it really does. It's disgusting. I worked the line a few times, but
I was gonna say, I was a line cook for a couple of years, and I deep fried my pointer finger at one point, and that was not fun.
I was trying to tell Jessie the answer to her question, which is how many subs there are. You have 0 copyright strikes on this channel. I would freaking hope so. Okay, so yeah, we have 12 subscribers. We need 12 more subscribers. That answers the question. So there you go.
I will do one better. If we can get up to 30 subscribers, I will even live stream me watching the film so you guys can see my reactions to it.
Like you'll put an earbud in so that it's not broadcast?
Right.
Oh, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I've had my moments in the restaurant biz. I was a pizza guy for years, and you get messy trying to make that many pizzas that fast. So I'm right there with you. That stuff's just insane. So yeah. So what do you think of the two protagonists in this film? Did you relate in any way, or did you like their dilemmas? Did you like the approach?
Sorry, I had just taken a mouthful of olive when you started asking.
Think of me as like your movie waiter.
Yeah. Ultimately, did I like the characters? Yes. Did I think that maybe they were a little too conveniently placed most of the time? Also, yes.
But isn't that the way of horror films?
Right. Again, like I said, I enjoyed the film. It's another thing where I can't exactly even say 100% why I enjoyed the film, but I just found myself enjoying the film.
Well, it's an enjoyable film.
Right. Looking back on it, like,
Although Jesse didn't
Like,
like it. Tell us, Jesse, why you didn't like it. I want to know why you didn't like it. Anyway, go ahead.
looking back on it though, like, yeah, the practical effects are fantastic, but you can of course see the little places where the practical effects where they had to digitally impose them onto the scene to make certain
Right, or
things
do a
work.
film overlay kind of a thing.
Right, or a film overlay. You know, you can see the seams, plain and simple.
Right.
And there are definitely the spaces where it gets cheesy. Um, there was a ton of convenience in the film as well, which is, you know, also pretty standard for an 80s film.
Well, not just that, it's also standard for like old hat horror, which is what this is paying homage to.
Mm-hmm.
So I you know, it's a very different The Outsider film because it's the Blob is an outsider, but the outsider becomes the insider because the Blob's the outsider and the Blob's a real menace. So you definitely get this like having to bond together. There's always that element, like you can see that same thing. Even like this is the same movie as Endgame, but on a really small scale.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but on a
I,
really small scale.
I think I get what you're saying.
No, it's
As far
that
as,
menace
like,
from above, that outsider menace that everybody has to bond together to beat. And in this town, it's the total outsider mullet kid, the head cheerleader, or I don't know if she's the head cheerleader or not, but she's definitely a cheerleader. The town cop, you know, Meth Gator coming summer 2025. I really want to see Meth Gator, so please do make it. Use an iPhone if you have to. Learn some digital effects and make it really cheesy. I would still watch it because I'd be like, I know that guy. And I know, what are you eating now? Is it another can of olives?
No,
Is it really another can of olives?
this is a can of home jarred pickles that I made.
You'd think that we're a pickle and olive show. You couldn't bring popcorn?
You don't worry about the content I bring, and I won't worry about the content you don't bring.
We're sharing the content. Anyway, it's fine. So the great thing about the Blob, though, I think is the end. I'm big on endings, and I like when movies that I know are never going to get a sequel still tease a sequel. I think it's fantastic because somebody right now could still pick up the Blob and option it and make a sequel, and it would be awful. But it would just, but it would make this movie even better. That's just me.
I really hope though that somebody does pick it up because I want to call it the Blob 2 Electric Boogaloo.
So it takes place in the 70s?
Yes.
So it's a time space traveling blob?
Mm-hmm. It has to.
So really it takes place in like 2050 where they find time space travel, the blob gets mixed up in it, sent back to the 70s, and it's like Austin Powers but the Blob 2.
Sure. That works. I don't care how it happens. I just want it to happen.
Angel, could you write that, please? I'd like to see this movie now. I need to see this. So yeah. The Blob Angel saw it when he was young, so that doesn't work. I would have watched this younger, but I probably would have liked it. But as a person who watches horror often, I was expecting something different and new. The music score was a put off. Made me feel cheesy, or made you feel that it was cheesy. I totally understand. So your reasoning, I like your reasoning, and this is one of the reasons why I think we should have Jessie on the show sometime, because I know that she's got a lot of insight and stuff to say about these kinds of things, and it would be fun to have you on and actually get to hear you talk about these movies. So we're going to have to do a suspense week with Jessie, and I think it'd be neat to have Bats McSkelly on here too, because Bats McSkelly also loves suspense and horror. So
you're going to be hard put to have Bats McSkelly on here at the same time that you're on here.
That's not true. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
But
okay, sure.
Title idea: Zombie's Journey. Is that for the zombie film that you pitched us? Because I think that's a good name.
I just hope it's a shot-for-shot redo of Brother Bear starring zombies.
What? I don't know. Brother Bear, man. I know you guys love that movie, but it's okay.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a wonderful movie. I do enjoy it, but I enjoy it for very shallow reasons. I'm just saying, like, you know, that movie is a movie that is a journey. I would just love to see it completely thrown out the window by a campy horror comedy zombie film.
So, have you ever seen Zombievers?
No.
You're shaking your head like you would never watch it. Uh-oh, did I lose you? You're all froze like on my screen, on that screen. I can never point at the right screen. You're all frozen.
How about now?
There you go. You're back. Welcome back.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, our internet bogs down. But no, you guys tried to get me to sit down and watch that film at one point a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that, just before Pandemonium happened. And we could not actually find a copy of it that any of us was willing to pay for. So you guys showed me the preview for it, and I went, oh, Lord, no. Like,
that's so sad.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, you got to see that movie. Has anybody in chat seen Zombievers? Because it's, I assume Smash Bros would have seen it. I would hope. I like hope that Smash Bros has seen it because that's bad. That's B movie. It's terrible and awesome simultaneously. It's like the greatest terrible thing ever. Please have seen it. I want somebody to agree with my crappy choices for films.
I mean, to me, it looked like it was just about as high a quality as Zombie Strippers was.
Yeah, no, it's right in that same vein, dude. You could put them in the same universe.
I'm good.
No, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. No, I'm telling you, not in a bad way, dude. I'm telling you.
And I'm telling you, I'm good.
No. It's amazingly terrible, but amazingly, like emphasis on amazingly, and then terrible's a small thing. Oh, Angel's gotta go. All right, Angel. You have a great evening. Thanks for stopping by. We do appreciate it. Always. And we will. We always are. We're always watching too many movies. Do check out the Discord if you want to see what movies we're going to be putting up for next week. I know that The Fly is absolutely on the list. We will be watching Cronenberg's The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. And then 2 other monster movies. It will still be monster movies, absolutely. We were discussing a potential weekday run of a Justice League Snyder Cut breakdown later this week, but we'll have to see. That may just have to be something we just kind of wing or wait until May, because May is definitely superhero month. So anyway,
I will say though, I don't like the idea of waiting until May to tackle the topic of that film.
I know, because everybody's talking about it right now, so it would be really a good idea to talk about it, but it's also a long film that we'd have to really break down. And I almost would like to, if we're going to review it, sit down and take some notes. Genuinely.
Yeah.
So, because that's how I roll. So anyway, Angel, have a great evening. If you haven't already left, I understand if you have. Jesse, if you haven't seen Zombievers, if you like cheesy bad horror, it's fantastic. It's right up your alley.
It's certainly not a psychological horror.
No, not even sort of. It's just, it's like Cabin in the Woods, but made with $50,000 and just really bad zombie beavers.
Made with a $50,000 budget that makes it more like they got their craft services done from the McDonald's dollar menu.
No, exactly, but they put a lot of effort in.
Okay, well,
and the beavers are hilarious.
I will gladly take your word on this one.
Now, if somebody pays 5,000 tickets, we're going to have to review it.
And that's fine. When that happens, great. I will review the film. and I will tell you as much as I can remember between naps.
I think it's short. It's like an hour and 20. It's pretty short. It's like 80 minutes,
Fantastic.
80,
That
83
means
minutes.
I can get at least 3 20-minute naps in.
Not your cup of tea. Okay, okay. Smash Bros was talking about loving those really bad B movies, and I'm not usually a huge fan of them, but this one just hit just right on the right night, possibly. I don't know. Maybe it was just the right night. But we do want to do some psychological horror or psychological thrillers, if you will. I think that's a great idea. I think that would be fun and fantastic, and it's a little bit more the real horror, if you will, rather than this like campy monster horror that we've been doing. Or even the horror you get in Halloween era, like as we get into the like Jasons and Freddys and the Sams, if you will, if anybody gets that reference. But does
That's a
Brad?
reference that might be a stretch for most audiences.
Yeah, but you get that reference, I hope.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
And it's not a Summer of Sam reference either.
It's not a what? No, not a Summer of Sam. No, that would be a psychological thriller. That's a different Sam. That's a real Sam. This is the fun fantasy Sam, the like one of the coolest unknown but fun characters. And I'm not even a Bryan Singer fan, but that's a good Bryan Singer film.
Yep.
So that's always fun. We're also working towards a giveaway. I think we might do the giveaway on the Godzilla night. That might be a big stream with some candy and other things being given away. We'll see how that goes. And then one of the biggest things we're going to do is still rate the Blob, maybe even talk a little bit more about it, but we're going to talk about the movies for next week because we need to get those handled. So if anybody has, well, Monkish, do you have any monster movies? Because we didn't go through your favorite monster movies yet.
So, I mean, to say that I have monster movies is like asking me if I have oxygen to breathe. It's more narrowing down to one that I actually feel would be worth reviewing. Because I also consider pretty much all of my favorite animal attack films as monster films in their own right.
It depends on
Because
what they are.
Right, but of course it's like, the scary unknown of it, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
As cheesy as it is, and as much as I know it's not a fantastic film by any means, I really enjoy Crawl as a monster film, the alligator film done in Florida. It's a terrible movie, but I enjoy it. So it's one that I would totally be willing to do as part of this. I don't know if you've ever even seen it.
I have not. I was really trying hard to avoid it.
Yeah. So if we're gonna be forcing me to watch movies that I would be,
no, I told you. I already told you. I said if you'll do this, I said if you'll do it, if you'll watch movies you would never watch, that I'll do the same. I think that's what makes it fun. So I'll absolutely watch movies like that, and I think they'll be fun because movies we like and we don't disagree on, there's no clash. And right. We need some clash, I think.
What's really sad is I will probably agree with every critique you have for that film,
but you're still going to love it.
And still, I'm going to love it.
That's hilarious. Yep. I respect that, though. I do. Okay. So we're going to watch The Fly, and we're going to watch Crawl. And then there are other movies I had considered for the week. And then the other thing we have, because we were talking about doing a King Kong, is we still have the 2005 King Kong, which I have not watched in a lot of years.
Okay.
But it's something we could dismantle.
Hey, yep.
I also had The Thing and Jaws. I also had a Monster Calls, which is more of a kid's movie, but still a monster movie.
So,
it does put you out of the comfort zone. I agree. I like that.
Yeah. What I could say is when it comes down to Jaws, great film, fantastic. You and I both enjoy it. I don't feel that there, again, like I said last week, there's anything that hasn't been said about it. I would still review it. I feel that you and I might hit pretty much the same exact points on all of it across the board. Tremors is a really great, fun, stupid set of horror films.
I have access to 5, and then I can look for that one.
You have access to 5 of them, or
no,
to
Tremors.
5?
Tremors 5.
Why 5 of all things?
So it's just what I have access to.
Okay, cool. Sure.
Okay,
But
so
you're going from Zombievers to Tremors 5. I'm starting to really doubt your ability to do this show.
I don't own Zombievers. And
But you're
Jesse right now is the person that is picking reviews for this show. Have you noticed that?
I mean, a little bit. This is only my 2nd episode, so,
Tremors is on the list. Jesse, do you have enough points to redeem for that? That would be curious, and that would be awesome. I would think at this point you have more than enough points to redeem for that. I would assume. Holy crap, I put that goal way too high.
What goal?
The raise the money goal.
The what?
Raise the money goal. Yeah, that's not working out for me. It's not the raise the money, it's raise the tickets. There's a tickets deal. And they get redeemed, and the more that get redeemed, the more we go towards everybody picking what we're going to do in April. You need 500 more? That's not very much. I think I remember that I could give people points, but I don't remember how. See, this is what
I know you can't, because you gave them to me the other day, but...
Well, you should redeem the points right now. You, in the chat, redeem the points for Crawl. And Jesse needs 500 more.
So I don't know how to redeem the points.
So you see the ticket stub in the chat? Click it.
Using channel points. See, I only have 1.6 thousand.
What? I think my channel points are all jacked up. I'll have to fix them. I was hoping you'd get a ticket tonight too. That's what I was hoping, that by now somebody would have had one. I'm surprised it's so high that it takes this long to get one. I was hoping it wouldn't take this long, because it's a long time. It's too long. Let's see.
Yeah, there's only 8 days left, and there's only 3%.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna make it. Not even sort of.
Not let you drop that down a lot.
Yeah, no, and so I'll have to, because I want to make it, but I'm not sure. I don't think I have to start it over, because I've never dealt with that before. So that's new to me. But I can't believe you can't. I thought I gave you all the points in the world the other day.
I'm looking at 1.6K.
1.6K. That's weird. You gain them faster when you subscribe. That's true. But everybody in here, at 50 points for every 5 minutes.
Smash has 8.8K.
Okay, that's fair enough. Interesting. I don't know how to give them so easily. I think you do this, and then I think I've already ruined everything by taking him off the screen. Is he off the screen? Yep, he's off the screen. There, he's back. Yay. I need to go here. He's gone again, I promise. And then...
Well, in that case, I can eat more olives.
Yes, you can. If I go here, and then somewhere in here, I can give him... I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. He is a point hoarder. That's totally true. Totally true. Channel points?
So what are you saving up for?
That's a very good question. Okay, I'm trashing this. Oh, if I refund that, maybe that'll help. What if I edit this and make it only cost $4,000? Boom. Now see if you can redeem it, Jesse. Should be able to. Let's hope. 8,000. That makes me happy, Smash. That makes me very happy because it means you do like coming and listening to our ridiculous reviews and our ridiculous chat and our ridiculous chatter. Because I chatter on. Nice. Tremors it is. Tremors it is. Look at that. Our first redemption.
Fantastic.
And a shout out goes out to Just Jesse for being our first official person to redeem a ticket for Tremors as a review. This is going to be fun. And I made it cheaper, because why not? You now enough for 2. Oh boy. Smash us enough for 2. That means we're going to have to review some B movies. Gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. All right, so what are our movies next week then?
So we've got The Fly, Crawl, and Tremors.
That's a good lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Really creepy. Cheesy lame. Cheesy fun. Right?
Really creepy, cheesy lame, cheesy fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Crawl is still cheesy fun.
Really?
To me. Again, my opinion.
Okay, well, we'll see. I have not seen Smash. I've not seen Crawl. And I have not seen The Fly in a lot of years. In a lot of years. And I haven't seen The Tremors in a lot of years. So I'm going to be very interested in these movies. It's going to be very fun. And I hope everybody is able to watch them. If not, I understand. You know, that's hard to do. But definitely interested in what other people think of these films as well. What do you rate The Blob?
Even though I enjoyed it as much as I did, there's still enough downfalls to it for me to not rate it very high. I'm going to give it a 5.
5? What do you match it against other horror films?
I'm not.
Does the rating go up against other horror films? Just other horror films?
I mean, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, when it comes down to the whole rating category, or the rating section of this, I don't really rate them against other horror films.
It's more like a golf score?
I try to take them as just a standalone thing. I'm not going to try to come in and be like, well, this film did it better. I want to just take it on its own merits and go from there. So, you know, I give this a 5 out of 10.
That's fair. Okay. I loved this film growing up, and I still love it now. I think this film holds up pretty well. I'm going to give it a 7. I think that it's very watchable, and that even though there's mullets all over it, it's because of the time. I'm willing to forgive the time period, but I think that the special effects are fun, and it left me feeling creepy at the end, which is what I want out of a horror movie. I want to walk out of it feeling creeped out. So
yeah, it didn't leave me feeling creeped out, but I can see what you're talking about.
Like at all?
No, not at all.
Weird.
No, the movie was for me far too cheesy for me to be like ultimately creeped out. There were some scenes that I was like, oh, wow, that's graphic. That's on the creepy side of things. But nothing that made me go, wow, I am creeped out by this film.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's not for everybody, but I grew up with the special effects, so they still affect me in the same way, I guess. You're seeing it for the first time.
Well, I mean, I grew up with Harry Potter, but the special effects on that don't affect me at all. They
Because they're
affected me at the time
CG.
because I, no, I know they affected me at the time, and I was like, "Oh, that's amazing," and now I look at it and go, "Wow, that doesn't even look like a person."
Because it's not.
Yeah,
It never was.
I mean, I
Never was a
understand.
person. Anyway, I'm excited about next week's movies more than I was about this week's. I was actually excited about this week's, and then we watched them, and then I was like, they're not as good as the weeks before. And we're going to have off weeks. This was one of them.
Oh yeah,
And it's okay. We have a new follower, a new fan. I'm excited about that. And of course, we have Jesse, our loyal listener, and Smash Bros, our other loyal listener. We love you guys so much for all the time you come spend with us. It's a blast. I have a good time doing this. That's why I come back every week. That's why I do it. It's because you guys want to talk movies, and I love talking movies. I will do this as long as I can. As long as I can.
I do this because I enjoy hearing myself talk, but you guys are an added bonus.
We have our reasons. I love that. I like that emote. You have emotes now. Here, I'll put a few of these out. Yeah. Little monkish wink in the Chad. Or Chad.
A monkish wink in the Chad.
Little Freudian slip there.
Yeah. Considering it's monkish wick, not wink, but it's only my name.
So I think maybe we should consider rating somebody, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got 3 minutes left before 10 o'clock, so.
Blam, nightmare fuel. Nice. Okay. Sorry, I'm eating a few peanuts here. I apologize. If we're going to raid, first I got to see who's on. Tremors is definitely on the list now. I got to put Crawl on the list. Hold on. All right, Crawl's now on the list. Oh, wait, is it? Hold on. Now it is. Okay, there it goes. Crawl's on the list.
And that Crawl, not only is it on, I think it's on Hulu, I also own it on my Vudu, so if you, there's multiple ways for you to watch it if you don't have access to it currently.
You know what? We didn't put King Kong on there, but I think there's a reason you said we shouldn't put it on because of the fact that we're going to both hate on it.
Well, I didn't say that we shouldn't put it on there. Honestly, we could throw it on to next week as a fourth film, but I think it should come with a warning of it is a film neither of us enjoy.
I'm going to trash it so hard.
Right. It's
so hard.
It's a film that I loved when it came out, but I haven't enjoyed in years.
Because it's so hard to like. I don't know. It's because who expects Peter Jackson to make anything but a really slow movie? Anyway, that's the other reason I don't like Lord of the Rings, but that probably just got me 3 less followers. So
probably for the record, I love Lord of the Rings. So those 3 followers, please stick around at least for my cute mug.
I'm just honest about my opinions. That's all it is. And I love everybody, and I love all their opinions. Okay, we are going to do this. We're gonna raid somebody now. I wanted to get those movies on our queue so we knew what we were going to watch. Let's see who's available. Who's on tonight? Oh, Marvelite. We're going to raid Marvelite. Here we go. You guys, thank you. Thank you for coming by and watching. Not our most amazing show, but I don't care because I just love being here. And I had a good time still. It's been a blast. And no, I'm not going to start a prediction. Jeez. Marvel. 20. All right. You have a great night, Jesse. And Smash, if you're still here, you also have a good night. Good night, everybody else. Monkish
Good
Wick,
night, everyone.
I know I'll be talking to you soon.
Yep.
I hope you guys have a safe one. And let's see. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It didn't work. There we go. There we go. There we go. Worked that time. Raiden now. Anyway.
Anyway.